Monty Show, the truth in sports talk streaming. When you want unbiased opinions about your favorite team without the spin, all you have to do is find the Monty Show, streaming live and available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week on YouTube. And now, here's Monty.
Hey, yo, man, how the heck are you? It is the Monty Show, presented by our good friends at The Advocates. As always, guys, I tell you every single day on this show, The Advocates are the best injury attorneys in the business. Hands down, not even close. When you go to an attorney and the first thing they ask you for is a check, that's when you know you're in trouble. And see, at The Advocates, you don't pay The Advocates unless and until they win your case. No consultation fees, no big retainers, just the help you need to get to the best version of yourself. So whether it's a car accident, a motorcycle accident, if you got hit on a bicycle, did you get hurt at work today? TheAdvocates.com. Chat with an attorney for free right now at TheAdvocates.com. Make sure you tell them you heard about it on the Monty Show. Good to see you guys. Already Thursday this week. I can tell you we've been watching the U.S. Open all day. And Xander Schauffele and Ricky flipping Fowler. How about Ricky Fowler and Xander Schauffele shooting a -8, 62 to lead the U.S. Open? That is the lowest U.S. Open score ever, and it is tied for the lowest major championship score ever, and not one but two guys did it today at the LA Country Club, which looks to me, I think there's going to be a lot of low scores today. Although I would say Schauffele and Fowler at -8 both share a 4-stroke lead. Scotty Scheffler's at -3. DeChambeau's in the clubhouse at -3. Names like Rory McIlroy, Dustin Johnson, my guy Brooks Koepka, those guys just teed off. They're in the very early stages of their round. So as the show goes on, we'll keep you up to date on that real quick. And I know everybody's here for as the Pac-12 turns. Is golf a major sport in this country?
I mean,
I'm all in on it. I got to be honest with you.
I love watching golf, man. I mean, once you get into it a little bit and you start to kind of understand the nuance, it's really a fun sport to watch.
By the way, Phil Mickelson is wearing Air Jordans today.
Is he?
Has there been a turn? It's not accidental. And with all the live golf controversy, it is not accidental that a guy like Phil Mickelson puts on Air Jordans. So I'm just curious about that. But yeah, are you guys golf fans? Obviously, you know that we play a ton of golf. I am invested in golf. My wife got me a great putting green, putting tracker trainer tool. I've got a hitting net set up in my backyard. I take golf lessons. Like, I'm all in on it. Mm-hmm. But there is nothing like Sunday at a major tournament. Mm-hmm. Kick the feet up. Fire up the Traeger smoker with the wings. Like, I'm all in on it.
Yeah.
C. Coppin says to play, yes. To watch, not so much. So you'll play, you just don't watch. Infamous Montoya says pass on golf. Interesting. A lot of people are like, yeah, hey, I like to play. The course is set up too easy. Dry those greens up. Dude, the greens are drying up. They're very fast now as the day has gone on. Michael Batts says, I'm not watching golf until they wear shorts. Okay. Okay. Dave Patrick. By the way, Dave Patrick, everybody, welcome Dave Patrick, our newest member. Let's go, Dave. Good to welcome you to the membership. Thank you so much. Make sure you guys hit the join button. It's as little as $1.99 a month, all the way up to $9.99 a month. You got breaking Utah Jazz news first in our Instagram members only group today. You get that premium content, $9.99 a month. All of our breaking news on the NFL, college football, NBA. You get all of that in the app in the Instagram group, when you join it, $9.99. But Dave, appreciate you supporting the show, man. Really appreciate that. Dave says, each to their own.
Yeah.
Saw too many marriages get broken up by golf. How is that?
Well, because you're out on the course too much.
Well, I mean, I think you have to. Yeah, it's why I try to get my wife to play with us.
Yeah.
So But good to see you guys. Good to see you guys. What's up, Lonnie? Johansson says, hi, guys. How are you today? Good, Lonnie. Good to see you.
It's good Thursday.
LV Seminole says, I'll watch the Masters or when Koepka is in contention. Brooks is on the course right now.
Yep.
You know, I'm just telling you that, hey, dude, I'm into it. Two Masters says, golf, I'd rather watch Dixie State varsity frisbee.
Okay.
I mean, that's just not very nice. That is not very nice.
Okay.
But that's fine. Two Masters, always good to see you. Let's get into the show here on the Monty Show. So today, I thought a very interesting move over the last few days was this situation with Mark Harlan at Utah, the athletic director, who... And I don't know how anybody else would grade Mark Harlan and the job he's done as anything other than spectacular. Because he has just been a phenomenal breath of fresh air as an athletic director. Whether it's been the absolute explosion of the football program, what he's done for women's basketball, track and field, gymnastics. I mean, you look at women's softball this year, going to the College World Series. I mean, I don't know that anybody can question the job that Mark Harlan's done.
Right.
What you can question is Mark Harlan's decision to pass on the USC athletic director position to stay at Utah. Jake, how surprised by that were you?
Yeah, I think that when, you look at these two jobs, they're obviously very different jobs. Obviously two different conferences, two different lifestyles. Money's probably a little bit different. Can't say, obviously we don't have details on if USC would have offered more or less, but I have to be, inclined to think it would have been more. So, and obviously it's California versus Utah, and I'm not a big believer that every single person on planet Earth prefers California over Utah. I think the state of Utah has got a ton of value. So for me, I wasn't necessarily surprised, but I do believe that, if you're going to choose to stay at Utah and therefore choose to stay in the Pac-12, you're therefore endorsing a TV deal situation on some level. In my opinion, you wouldn't stay in a conference at a job at a particular university if you didn't believe that university and therefore the conference the university is in was going in the right direction.
Yes.
I mean, again, I don't think it's hot take guy or rocket science or reinventing the wheel to say something like, hey, if you're going to be a free agent for 5 minutes and work on a renewal with Utah or get calls from schools like USC, you got to take everything into consideration. When I say everything, I want to be specific. I'm talking about day-to-day life. I'm talking about, your family's preferences, obviously your own personal preferences. So when I saw that he signed an extension through 2028, my first reaction to that was, well, hey, on some level, isn't that a vote of confidence in the TV deal situation? Because you wouldn't stay somewhere if you weren't confident in where your school was going. And it very much could be a thing where, Mark Harlan is in a position where he's like, hey, my family's happy here. I'm happy here. So no matter what happens with the TV deal, I'm going to be good either way. But I just think that Mark Harlan's done too good of a job at Utah to not consider all of his options. Because when you do that good of a job and USC comes calling as they're going into the Big Ten, that's a big decision to say no to that situation, especially when you consider, the expanded football playoff or the expanded college football playoff and everything that USC has to offer from that standpoint. That's a big no.
Yeah, I think the other thing that is very clear is this story that is coming out of Los Angeles today, where you get this new big bang facility out of USC. They announced a huge facility upgrade, which I think is exactly what they should be doing. I mean, if you're USC, why would you not have a state-of-the-art facility? And I think you look at this, and I'll be honest with you, as somebody who's covered USC, their facilities have not always been, how shall I say, top-notch. But you look at the complex that is coming out of USC.
Look at that, dude.
The practice facilities, and baseball is a big deal, right? Baseball's a big deal, but you look at again, this is an on-campus facility, on or near campus facility. This is a big deal. This is a very big deal. It's something that I think has been absolutely, in the works for a long time. And I think when you look at this facility, they're talking about support for all 21 programs to carry them into the future.
Yeah.
And again, with all due respect, I think anybody who listens to this show knows that I support the Pac-12. I'm a huge believer in the brand and the value in Salt Lake City at the University of Utah. I'm a huge believer in it. How did you pass on the USC job? I mean, it's stunning to me. And one of the things we were arguing about when I was sitting on Jake's chest, like punching him in the face repeatedly in the pre-show meeting, one of the things we were discussing, I'm a man, passionately, is that the Big Ten at USC, or is that USC who happens to be in the Big Ten? And I think this is a real discussion. I mean, you look at this facility now and you say to yourself, hey, this is a mammoth development at USC. Let's keep this in mind. They're not in Westwood or Beverly Hills. They're in South Central Los Angeles. That's where USC's campus is. And this facility is unbelievable when you look at what USC is building. And I bring this up because all of this broke today. And I say to myself, man, yeah, Utah's got great facilities. But this is USC. And with all due respect to Utah, and I mean no slight, this is USC.
Yeah.
And I'm curious, if you are Mark Harlan and you're the University of Utah Athletics, I think you absolutely just got a fist bump with the Pac-12. You said, hey, we believe in you. We're staying here. Because if you truly had questions at Utah, if you did not believe in the veracity of the things coming from your commissioner, George Gliavkov, and if you did not buy into, hey, we're going to get a TV deal on level with the Big 12, I think you have to take that job. Mm-hmm. Because most certainly during the interview process, Mark Harlan was well aware this announcement was coming today.
Right.
There's no question about that. So I am really surprised that Mark Harlan passed on USC.
Yeah, and that's why I say I think it's fair and reasonable to say something like, hey, this is a vote of confidence, not only in the Pac-12, of course, but in the TV deal situation, and obviously in the University of Utah and Taylor Randall. I mean, again, I think, there's a lot that goes into these decisions, but I just don't think a guy if this was somebody who was just average, who was just mediocre, who was just at an athletic program that was just kind of mulling along, that was just kind of average, not really doing anything, I'd be like, well, he just wanted job stability. He just wanted to stay where he was, didn't want to go anywhere.
Sure.
But that's not what this is. This is Mark Harlan, bro. This guy knows how to operate. This guy's got an athletic program that is going the absolute right direction. The whole up and to the right thing, that's what's happening at Utah. So for me, I just think it is absolutely a vote of confidence in the Pac-12, and it makes me wonder, hey, does Mark Harlan and by extension Taylor Randall already know what the TV deal looks like?
Yeah.
I'm curious where they're at in the information pipeline.
And I'll go back to what we talked about when we talked to our sources in Salt Lake about the University of Utah. They straight up told us, hey, man, it's no slight to the Big 12, which, by the way, hold on to that chunk of gristle for a minute because I want to talk about this step down to the Big 12. But the people we talked to in Salt Lake at the University of Utah told us point blank, we have a lot of respect for the Big 12. It is no slight. We just really enjoy the relationship that we have with the remaining 9 members. We believe as a group we are formidable and strong, and we believe that we need to give, George Gliavkov a chance to do the job that he was given.
Yeah.
And we have been reporting exclusively on this show that Taylor Randall, the president at Utah, has been a peacemaker throughout the process. He has been preaching patience and opportunity. And I just think Utah is wholly committed to their current partners in the Pac-12. For better or for worse, for their long-term prosperity or demise, that's yet to be determined. Utah's committed to the other 9 members of the conference.
Mm-hmm.
And when your athletic director has a chance, and I don't mean to keep going back to this, but dudes, you look at this tweet from SC football. That is USC football right there, dude. Look at the practice facility. They're talking about rooftop hospitality. They're talking about lounges and like VIP areas. And you're talking about an institution that is wholly committed to the absolute prosperity of their athletes.
Yeah, absolutely. Finding any way they can to make money, in their athletic program. And again, this is what I talk about all the time. Like, I know we have this conversation, repeatedly with, Brett Yormark and the Big 12 and all the things they're doing. But this to me is right up that same alley where you're basically saying, hey, like, okay, yeah, we've got a football team and we've got a practice facility where they practice. But at that same time, essentially, we're playing football. Okay, so how do we make money on that? Anytime they strap up the pads and they're on the football field and Lincoln Riley's blowing the whistle, how can we make money on that? And that's why I love this, because it's like, okay, yeah, obviously the facility is way nicer. Obviously, it's beautiful. It's everything you would ever want as a football player and, frankly, as an SC fan.
Yes.
But the idea that you would have things like rooftop lounging and ways for people to spend money, because that's how I like to word it. You're giving people a chance to spend their money in your facility. It may not be that you're selling a hot dog, but maybe it's merch. Maybe it's like a bunch of other things. I don't know.
Breaking news, actually, on this exact topic. Mark Harlan just tweeted, extremely honored, humbled, and grateful to President U of U and the Board of Trustees who share the vision of succeeding in all we do with tremendous integrity. We have elite students, coaches, and staff supported by a passionate community. This is our home, and we're just getting started.
There you go.
And you know what? I think, listen, again, if you're a fan of the Pac-12, if you're a Utah guy, or up there they say if you're a Utah man, if you're a fan of the Pac-12, this is a huge boost of confidence.
Yes.
This is because I'm telling you, Utah is an integral part of the Pac-12. They're absolutely an important. I don't even know if you lost Utah. I think if you lost Utah, this conference would be in a very difficult position.
Mm-hmm.
Very difficult position. I'm not just talking about football. Like, I think Utah is a linchpin in this conference. To have the athletic director at Utah say no to USC, sign a contract extension at Utah, is nothing short of one of the greatest saves that we've seen in college sports history.
Mm-hmm.
Because not only did USC gut this conference, not only did USC cut the knees out on this conference, destroy the foundation of this conference,
mm-hmm.
take Southern California away from this conference, take recruits in mass away from this conference, take dollars, ad partners, everything that is important and makes up the absolute air and blood that you need to survive.
Facts.
SC and UCLA took that to the Big Ten. The idea that they would go and get who I think is the best athletic director in this conference, Mark Harlan at Utah, that SC would steal him would have absolutely been nails through your testicles, dude. Like, the pain of the pain.
Right.
Because this cat, Mark Harlan, I can only say it so many times, is an elite administrator, an elite leader,
Facts.
an elite representative. To have lost him to USC would have been catastrophic. Absolutely catastrophic to the conference and to the University of Utah.
Yeah.
Because what he's done, forget football in the back-to-back Pac-12 championships and the back-to-back Rose Bowl appearances. Forget all that. The softball team just went to the College World Series. The Red Rocks are as strong as they have ever been. The women's basketball team is as good as it has ever been. You look at the secondary sports. I sat 3 seats away from Mark Harlan at the regional and the super regional. Like, Mark Harlan is invested in this university at Utah. Salt Lake City has never had a better manager. And the growth and the acceleration, I could go on and on and on. This was a huge save by the University of Utah. And I don't know if it was about money. I don't know if it was about stability. But the other thing that I will say is Mark Harlan's a man of integrity. And the idea, because I don't know many athletic directors who would push off the overtures of a 6-foot blonde who's ready to absolutely dump truck you.
I want it.
A thirsty honey at USC. To turn that down is really difficult. To say no to the University of Southern California when you're on the verge of probably a dynasty and huge money. You said no. I'm staying at Utah.
Yeah.
And I think that is absolutely, positively a vote of confidence, a fist bump, a bro hug, a dap up to the Pac-12.
Yes.
I don't know any other way to say it.
Yep.
I truly do not.
Yep.
Because you walked away from brand new facilities to support all 21 sports at USC.
Yeah.
It's incredible. It is absolutely incredible.
Yep. Totally agree.
Did he walk away from the Big Ten or did he walk away from USC?
I think that he decided to stay home. I don't know what he walked away from. I think he probably walked away from SC. I think that the conference portion of it, it's hard to say because it's such a philosophical question. For the last couple of weeks, we've been going round and round in the Pac-12 about the different, mindsets on this conference situation, this TV deal situation with these administrators. And so, to sign an extension, to then tweet about that extension in the way that he did in such a positive fashion, which, obviously I would expect him to tweet something, but, you didn't have to say what he said here. And I think, that's what I kind of notice is the little details. Like, he could have just said, thrilled to continue at Utah. Like, just a basic ass, no effort type tweet. He could have just done that, but instead, look at what he's talking about here. Students, coaches, staffs, Taylor Randall, like all this great stuff. And so it's like, all right, well, did he walk away from SC or did he walk away from the conference? In my opinion, you probably you weren't walking away from either of those. You were more in the mindset of, hey, I just want to stay here. I'm happy here. I'm not trying to, I'm not too interested in looking at other opportunities. But it brings me right back to, again, as soon as I say that, it brings me right back to, what do you mean you're not interested in USC? Like,
that's a big deal.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, that's one of those gigs. We're not, for everybody yesterday, we're not talking about Cincinnati. We're not talking about San Diego State.
Easy.
Right? We're talking about SC. We're talking about a program that no longer is living off of Pete Carroll and Reggie Bush, but is now living off Lincoln Riley and Caleb Williams. And I think that's a huge step forward for them. So who's he walking away from? I don't know if he's walking away from anything. I think the guy just likes where he is and wanted to go another couple of years.
I think this is... Oh, I totally disagree. I 100% disagree. What I think Mark Harlan did here was send a message. Because let's get clear on a couple of things. Mark Harlan's not just some dude who isn't on Twitter and, doesn't... Mark Harlan's dialed.
Hey, guys.
Yeah, I mean, we're not going anywhere. Like, give me a break. Like...
Sign an extension.
Mark Harlan didn't do anything but say, I'm not a sellout.
Yeah.
I'm a Utah man. And look, I get it. Life in Salt Lake City is, having spent a lot of my life in Salt Lake City, it's spectacular. It's really tough to beat it. I understand all of the lifestyle stuff. This was not that.
Yeah.
This was not a paycheck. I'm Mark Harlan, and I'm not going to sell out.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to go chase the paycheck. I feel like, and I could be wrong about this, and if I'm making too much out of it, please feel free to step up and tell me that. I feel like this is Live Golf versus the PGA. I feel like this is, hey, you Fs in the Big Ten, and you think you're all holier than thou with your $100 million, and, well, that's the college football version of blood money. You go ahead and take that. I'm here, and I'm going to stand and fight.
Yeah.
That's what this feels like to me.
Yeah.
This wasn't, my family, and we have this beautiful rock wall with ivy growing up it in the backyard. No. This was screw you, USC. Screw you, Big Ten. I'm in the Pac-12. I'm at Utah, and I am happily here, and I'm going to fight, and we are going to win.
Does he regret the decision in 2 years?
No, hell no. Because at the end of the day, Mark Harlan, the athletic director at Utah, when he puts out this statement, when he says, who share a vision of succeeding in all we do with tremendous integrity, I'm going to guess tremendous integrity isn't, hey, Carol Fultz, should we expand the Pac-12?
Hey,
nah,
Carol.
Man. Hey, man, no, you're good. Hey, real quick, Carol, Big Ten's on the phone. Kevin Warren wants to talk. Hey, guys, no expansion. I got to go. Okay, whoop. All right.
The ink isn't dry yet.
Hey, Kev. Like, that's not an act of...
Wait, can we put the tweet back up? What was the verbiage? What was the verbiage? Tremendous integrity?
I'm going to say that when Carol Fultz gave Kliavkoff the middle finger and her assistant was like, oh, here's... Hey, Carol, Kevin Warren's on the phone, wants to talk. I guarantee you she didn't say, this is Carol Fultz. She was like, oh, hey, baby.
Yeah.
She was ready to go, man.
Yes.
When you kill expansion in the Pac-12 and then immediately put pen to paper in the Big Ten, I'm going to say that's not acting with integrity. These are not accidental words, okay?
No smoke.
Yeah, come on now. These are not accidental words. These are not accidental words. These are not accidental words from Mark Harlan. We're not leaving. Give me a break. Integrity, like no truth to this tweet whatsoever from Rick George.
Yeah.
What's the difference between that and give me a break? Right? Like there's politicians and then there's politicians and then there's give me a break, right? You see the contrast? Oh, and then by the way, for him to say succeeding in all we do with tremendous integrity was a shot in the balls at Carol Fultz at USC, who he said, no, Carol, enjoy your misery in the Big Ten. I think that's what this was today. This was not, I love Utah and the mountains are so pretty and look at the birds chirping and singing. No.
Are people Myron?
That's all true, right? That's all true. Birds are cool. Deers and mooses and mices and geeses. That's all cool. Giving the middle finger to USC is even cooler than that. That's not cool. That's gangster.
Yes, it is.
That's what that is.
Yes,
and I feel like that's what Mark Harlan did today.
How about that?
And hey, man, if that fires up the base, let's rock and roll.
Yeah.
Let's rock and roll.
What are our lovely commenters saying today?
Let's go. Landon McCurdy says, Dave, stop already. Nobody can take your comments seriously. Oh, boy.
Who's Dave?
What did Dave say? Dave said he will take Utah to the G5.
Sure.
Dave says they are taking a huge leap. I think I take the LA Traffic. Well, that's why you're not the athletic director at Utah.
Agreed.
Right? Hero75 gives us $5 to say, I would bet that part of the reason the USC facilities upgrade is due in part to the LA Olympics coming in 2028. Who cares? Who cares? By the way, if it was Olympic buildings, would it have SC branding everywhere? Right? Like, I mean, I don't think, dudes.
Yeah, I don't think that has to do with the Olympics.
Do you understand the money that USC has? Do you understand the boosters and the support that they have? They have one of the great campus atmospheres. I respectfully disagree. I don't think it has anything to do with the Olympics.
Yeah.
And if it helps the Olympic movement, that's great. Or if it helps facilitate the games, that's great. Big Bad Brass Ball says, are you kidding me? That's a huge stretch for you to take. A vote of confidence in the Pac-12, a swing and a miss, Monty. Your takes are usually better. Okay, so let me just recap. So you don't think Mark Harlan, let's say worst case scenario happens from here on out. No Pac-12 grant of rights, no Pac-12 TV deal, the Pac-12 disintegrates. So Mark Harlan is not at risk now. Well, yeah, he's absolutely at risk.
Why would you sign an extension through 2028 if you thought the conference was going to burn to the ground? What do you mean, dude? And once again, I'm going to roll this back out at you just like I've done to Tanner and several other people. Don't come in here with this kind of take and not have a why behind it. You need to explain why it is that you think that he, by signing this extension that's not a vote of confidence in that situation, the university itself, someone like Taylor Randall. By the way, it's a vote of confidence in the other ADs in the conference, even if you are as crappy as you are at Arizona State. Like it's not, they're not mutual. Like if you sign an extension somewhere, you are putting your confidence in that situation. Yes. I just don't understand how you don't understand that. Maybe if you had silver balls instead of brass balls, you would get it, but you don't. So, I don't know how is this confusing, dude? How is this at all confusing?
Yeah, I don't know.
Man.
I don't think this can be considered anything other than a vote of confidence.
Yeah, I just don't know. How is it any other way?
I just don't.
So let me get this right. So you're saying that dude signs this extension, and it's the conference burns to the ground. We'll be fine. I'll still make I think it's $700,000 a year, whatever it is, right? You're telling me that's what his mindset was. A guy who is attending regional and super regional softball games. A guy who is constantly on campus. A guy who goes to almost every sporting event. Come on, dude. Be better.
Yeah, I think it is without question. I think it is without question a vote of confidence. I mean, I think when you look at the way that this conference has I don't even know how you would describe it. I mean, it's splintered in some factions. I mean, the clear divide between people like Kirk Schultz and President Robbins at Arizona. Mm-hmm. I think you look at the Colorado situation, and you start to say to yourself, maybe Phil DiStefano, the chancellor there, maybe he's not as married to it as we thought he was in their special meeting on Monday. You look at the different ways that people, and I'm a big believer, and I've heard this repeatedly. When we were talking to somebody at Washington State last week who again reiterated that when you're talking as much as a guy like Kurt Schultz is talking, mm-hmm. you expose yourself. Mm-hmm. You expose yourself because it tells people, Ray Anderson at Arizona State saying that he and they have never considered another conference. Well, we know that's absolute bullshit because your president said you've spoken to the Big 12.
Congratulations, but that's bullshit.
We're going through a Board of Regents situation where the Board of Regents, while they may not, in Arizona, the Arizona Board of Regents, while they may not be able to stop Arizona from splitting with Arizona State, a Board of Regents member straight up told us, we're going to do everything we can to make sure that it's very difficult for them to do that.
Yeah.
Because we believe Arizona and Arizona State should stay together.
Yes.
So you look at all these different corners of the conference where there's been splintering, there's been fractions, there have been, half-truths, fractions of truths. And then you look at Mark Harlan today, who left behind USC, stayed, and then you think it's accidental, and this is probably a reach? You think it's accidental that USC put out these pictures today and put out this tweet today announcing their new performance center? And then Mark Harlan puts out this tweet talking about being extremely honored, humble, and grateful?
Come on.
And we have elite students, coaches, and staff supported by a passionate community. and they share a vision, succeeding in all we do with tremendous integrity?
Read the tea leaves here, guys. Come on.
I don't think this is a stretch at all.
Yeah.
This is not a stretch at all.
Yeah.
Mark Harlan's in for the long haul with the Pac-12.
Yeah.
And I'm guessing he's in for the long haul because that's where Taylor Randall is, as we've reported exclusively on this show.
Yeah.
So do you think it's accidental that people high up the food chain at Utah have told us, hey, it's no disrespect to the Big 12, but we really like where we're at, and we like the people we're in business with, and we like the academic money that we're dealing with, and we worry if we go to the Big 12 that we're going to take a significant hit in our educational revenue streams.
Okay. Understand the thought process.
They're all in, dude.
Yeah.
They're all in on the Pac-12. And I say, hey, more power to you because you're probably one of the few.
Yeah.
So I think it is admirable, respectful. I think it's unbelievable what Mark Harlan did today.
Yeah.
This dude walked away from USC, a
In
significant
the Big
money,
Ten, dude.
a significant pay raise,
Come on.
without question. They've got far deeper pockets and far larger Brinks trucks in Los Angeles than they do up in Salt Lake City.
And by the way, it's Los Angeles.
Come on now. I mean, this is not a stretch at all, and I'm sorry if that upsets you, but it's U.S. mother C, man.
Yeah.
What's up, big bro?
You don't walk away from that. Nobody walks away from that job. Come on now. Sebesta, what's up, my guy? Says, yeah, USC talent like Lori Laughlin's kids. See what I'm saying? I mean, she's an unbelievable rower.
Well done.
Rower. You know. Patrick Bourne, Colorado says, quote, hey, Mark, love your integrity. We taking the lifeboat. See ya.
Well, and that's a possibility.
It is. It is. Kurt Peters, Harlan knows PAC will either get a deal or Utah will be in the Big 12. Not sure where the vote of confidence is. Oh, I don't think Mark Harlan is thinking about the Big 12 at all. I really don't. I think... And I'm not, I feel like I sit here every single day and defend this conference. I feel like I sit here and defend the Pac-12 every single day.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it needs me to defend it. I think when you look at the Pac-12, you're a power group of business owners who made huge mistakes with Commissioner... I even hate to say the guy's name. Larry Scott was an abject failure. Mm-hmm. By the way, Ray Anderson, speaking of Ray Anderson's stupidity, who empowered Larry Scott? Oh, that'd be Michael Crow, his president. I mean, ASU roundly supported Larry. So, come on now.
Yeah.
Big Bad Brass Ball says, don't make it personal. Who's making it personal? I think you're wrong. So what? You could be. I'm absolutely not wrong. The difference is, and we've gone through this on the show, with all due respect, I've had the conversation. I've been chewed out by people at Utah over this.
Yeah.
Trust me.
And the reason I made it personal with you is that last comment is you making it personal. When you want to roll in here with something like, are you kidding me? And this is a swing and a miss. You have no idea what you're talking about, dude. And I respect you.
Listen,
I get it. But...
you're welcome to your opinion. Sometimes guys get into this thing where you want to be right and everybody else is wrong. That's not the currency we trade in here. We tell you who we talk to and what we know. And if you want to argue it, go ahead and argue it. But I would agree, when you say stuff like, are you kidding me? This is a huge stretch. It's not a stretch, even a little bit, not even remotely a stretch.
If you want to come in here and say something like, hey, you guys are talking about the ACC and UNC and Virginia. Are you kidding me? Okay. We don't live there. I don't know people. We don't know people at UNC or Virginia. Okay, great, dude. Maybe you're right and we're wrong. But you're not going to come in here and say something like, are you kidding me? When we live in this state, we know people at that university, and we talk to people at that university on a weekly basis. So don't come in here and complain that I'm making it personal after you made it personal. That's the difference on this show. You're not getting a free pass when you come in that way. Now, if you want to say something like, hey, respectfully, I kind of disagree with you guys. Like, I think, I don't think that this is a vote of confidence. And give your take. Okay, cool. I'm good with that. We can have that conversation.
But you do things like Monty talkers are likely very wrong, indicating Harlan staying at AD at Utah means the PAC is saved.
Who said the PAC was
is saved?
Nobody
Who
said the PAC was
Who
saved.
said the PAC was saved? See, like this is what happens on a regular basis. Like, and it's Pac-12 fans and Big 12 fans who you guys just, it's politics to you. You can't have like diverging opinions, which drives me crazy. Nobody said that this indicates the Pac-12 was saved. I have no idea what show you got that from, but that clearly was not us.
What did we say?
Yeah.
We said, hey, if you're going to sign an extension in a conference that has a pretty grim TV distribution deal outlook right now, that's a vote of confidence in that grim outlook. That's what it is. That's what we said. Nobody said that the PAC is saved or that Jesus Christ rolled up. Like, nobody said that, man. That's
I don't know where you're getting that. Let's see. Is a vote of confidence in University of Utah? They know if the Pac-12 burns down, they will land somewhere. I think that's probably that's absolutely
that's a fair take.
Could be the truth.
Yeah.
I think when you look at Mark Harlan and you look at the fact that you just don't. This is like somebody turning down the athletic director at Oklahoma. You know, or Alabama or Georgia or the best athletic programs in the country. I mean, it's
Kalani not going to Washington and staying at BYU.
It's unheard of. Like when you're offered the job as athletic director at USC, you don't turn that down. They can have their pick of people. Like you don't turn, and now he's turned into a disgrace, Bone has, but you hired a guy who did unprecedented things at Cincinnati. Turned out to be a terrible human being.
Yeah, seriously.
But that guy's not staying at Cincinnati to pass on SC. Like, you just don't do that.
On to Cincinnati.
You know, like, to me, I think it's crazy that Harlan turned that job down.
Mm-hmm.
Like, just on if you were advising Mark Harlan at Utah, you wouldn't turn that down.
Just in career arc alone.
Yeah, you absolutely would not do that.
Take all the feelings out of it. If you just said to somebody who was at a P5 in any conference in the country, and you said, hey, and take the USC nameplate off of it, because these are the facts. Hey, we're a national championship contending football team right now. Say less. Say less. I don't care what basketball's doing. Don't care what baseball's doing. Don't care what the rowing team is doing. And definitely don't care what any other sport is doing. If your football team is national championship game good, and you're someone looking at taking the athletic director job over that football team, all you have to do is make sure the other sports are just reasonable. They don't have to go to super regionals like the Utah softball team did. They don't have to, go deep into a tournament like the women's basketball team did. They don't have to go out and win insane things like the Red Rocks did, but yet they did at Utah. And that's why I'm saying, man, this is like, if you think that this is not a vote of confidence in the Pac-12 and obviously in Utah, I just don't know what world you live in, man.
Yeah, it's a job that everybody, every athletic administrator in the country would take that job.
Every one of them.
Apparently not everyone, right?
I don't even disagree with the Brandon Butler take. Hey, maybe he took the job because there's a lot of security in hey, if the Pac-12 thing doesn't work out, we'll go to the big. But again, that just kind of makes my point. It's a vote of confidence in, at a minimum, Utah's situation. There's no getting around that.
Yep. Immaculate says, wasn't it just like a matter of days ago that watching this show would see these two saying that going to the Big 12 was inevitable? Well, no, I don't think we've ever, because I still maintain, I don't think a single one of these schools wants to leave the conference. And I'll just keep saying that. I don't think a single one of these 10 remaining members in the Pac-12 wants to leave the conference, because any of them could have already. Mm-hmm. Any of them could have made the announcement, hey, a year from now, we're going to the Big 12. Very easily and without much distress, and really nobody would be surprised. If Colorado had already announced it, who would be surprised? Nobody would have been surprised. If Arizona had joined them, if Arizona State had joined them, if Oregon State had joined them, nobody would be surprised.
Yeah.
They know the TV number. They know the best offer in years in cash that they have, and they're still there. They know what George Kliavkoff is attempting to do, and they're still there. Because they don't want to go. So have we ever said on this show that it's inevitable? No, I don't believe we have.
No.
Do I think members of this conference will leave? I'm not convinced of that. I'm not convinced of that.
Depends on the number, dude.
I just don't think they want to. Because again, the truths are what people don't want to deal in situations like this. When you look at the Pac-12 TV situation, bro, it is June 15th. They know the number. They know the offer. It's June 15th. If they wanted to go, they could have gone. Hey, it's June 15th. You're already making plans. Schedules are coming out for 2024.
Yeah.
They already know the plans.
Yeah.
Man, like they know these are highly intelligent people. These are not people that are, not qualified for their gigs. Again, I would just point you to President Kase at Washington. I would point you to Taylor Randall at Utah or President Robbins at Arizona. Experienced leaders, experienced administrators that are very good at their jobs. Every one of them has talked to the Big 12. Every one of them knows their options. Every single one of them. So why on earth, if they wanted to go, would they not have gone already? Because they don't want to go. I think every one of these schools is in a position where they are saying, hey, we're going to wait as long as we can because there's no rush. Because if I want to go to the Big 12, I can pick up the phone today, tomorrow, or a month from tomorrow and make it happen. There's no rush. Is there a door that's slowly closing? There's not. So why would they leap singularly? Why would they go on their own? A, and B, why would they move before they have to?
Yeah.
Is it costing them money to stay? It's not. Are they going to lose money in the long term if they wait a month? They're not. Like there's nothing pressuring anybody in this Pac-12 conference, the 10 remaining teams. There's nothing that is saying, hey, you got to go now. Got to go now. You got to go. There's no deadline.
Yeah.
There's no grant of rights where it's like San Diego State, which again, San Diego State's a really good example here. San Diego State's the only one really in this whole conversation. San Diego State's really the only one that's like, damn, dude, they've got officially 15 days to make a $17 million decision. Because on July 1st, their exit fee from the Mountain West Conference doubles.
Mm-hmm.
Plain and simple. They go from $17 million to $34 million in an exit fee on July 1st. They're the only ones with a real leverage situation on their hands. Everybody else has no financial penalty for leaving in a year from now. So why would they? So this idea that we're talking about saying that going to the Big 12 is inevitable, no. Patrick Bourne says, Monty, you're not defending the PAC, you're defending Mark Harlan. And I don't even think there's that much to defend. The guy is by far the best athletic director in the Pac-12. And I think I could make an argument he's probably top 10 in the country.
Yeah.
He's that good at what he's done.
Case. Yeah.
Oh, he's that good at what he's done. There is no question about that. No doubt about it. I think he has really done some incredible things. Bryce Martin, did Harlan even interview or did he text back saying, yeah, I don't know.
I mean,
it's a very interesting point. That is a very interesting point. Patrick Bourne says, is it a stretch to think that this is a vote of confidence for the PAC? No, I don't think it is. I don't think it is. Because I think and again, I look at I look at Mark Harlan and USC the very same I look at Colorado. Dude, if the conference was burning to the ground and the world was coming to an end, Colorado and half of this conference would be gone already. But it's not. And Mark Harlan is very much in the same situation. Do you really believe if the Pac-12 was disintegrating and Taylor Randall, who is in touch with this conference more than just about any other president, he would know that. Do you think Mark Harlan would be like, yeah, I'm staying at Utah. Yeah, I'm going to pass on SC. No. He wouldn't.
And by the way,
opinion.
for all the people making the case, and it's a reasonable case, I don't think it's a bad take.
No.
Well, he's just invested. He's invested in Utah because, if the PAC burns, they'll go to the Big 12. And that's why you're saying, hey, it's a stretch to say it's a vote of confidence for the TV deal situation. The reason I don't think that even matters is because the reason it's a vote of confidence in the TV deal situation is because he's basically saying, hey, I'm not interested in the Big Ten. I'm not interested in $100 million a year, right? Because that's essentially like whether he likes it or not, you're basically saying that. I mean, again, it's more about Carroll, in my opinion, in USC, but by extension, because they're going to the big, you're saying that. Whether we want, like, that's just the reality of the situation. So that's why I say, there are some times in life when you say no to something, you don't get to just conveniently skip over the $100 million part.
Correct.
Right? So, like, yes, it's more about Carroll and more about the SC call and more about the fact that they stabbed the PAC in the back. Absolutely. But you're not getting away from the Big Ten portion.
Yeah, I think it's a fascinating conversation. I do. I think the bravado of Big 12 fans right now, the arrogance of Pac-12 fans right now, I think it's a fascinating discussion because from both perspectives, I mean, I get why if you're in the Big 12, I totally understand why you would be in a position of power and leverage because you are. You have the money. The Pac-12 does not. The thing that kills me about Pac-12 fans is this idea that it's some step down to the Big 12. Because I got news for you, it's not a step down. It is not in any way, shape, or form from the Pac-12 to the Big 12 is not in any way, shape, or form a step down. And the thing that I think has hurt the Pac-12 so much is this just unbelievably malodorous arrogance from administrators, from guys like Ray Anderson, the athletic director at Arizona State, which I think is permeated down to fans, which it's incredible to me that even this idea that your favorite Pac-12 school, oh, they will never talk to anybody in the Big 12. That never happened. Nobody. Every president pretty much is on the record. Hey, yeah, we spoke to the Big 12.
Keep it real.
Hey, yeah, we spoke to the Big 10. And the thing that is so crazy is you're pissed off your favorite school spoke to the Big 12 or the Big 10. That's their fiduciary responsibility, man. They have to do that. They have to do that. Because I still maintain, as much as these 10 folks don't want to leave the conference, do you know how difficult it is going to be to get a grant of rights in the Pac-12? I think it is going to be very, you want to talk about percentages? The idea that you're going to get these 10 people to do anything other than eat themselves alive in a pit fight, I think it's going to be tough. And I think it's going to be, the real question is, are you going to be able to get a grant of rights in the Pac-12? And my answer is probably no.
Yeah.
I don't believe that you will. Ryan Thomas gives us $2 to say Harlan knows U of U will be fine in the money at the PAC or the Big 12.
And I don't even disagree with that.
I think that's probably true.
For all you guys rolling that out there, that's cool. I'm good with that. But I just think that in life, if you're going to commit to something, you're saying, okay, we're good. We're good in the PAC. I'm good here. Like, I'm fine. And yeah, I do think it if you're the guy saying right now, oh, this is a stretch and your guys' take is garbage, well, then that's your opinion. But if you're going to commit to a contract in a conference with frankly an embarrassing TV deal situation right now that's been going on way too long, like you're saying, okay, yeah, I think this is going to work out okay.
How else do you explain, not to be redundant, how else do you explain that this guy walked away from USC? How do you this guy walked away from premier facilities? I mean, absolutely walked away from premier facilities in a brand new massive financial commitment by USC today. I don't know how else you explain it. And
no one's saying the Pac-12 is saved. Stop running it out there. We didn't say that.
I just don't care. You know what, dude? It doesn't matter. Nobody knows if the Pac-12 is saved. Who cares?
Yeah.
If opinions are not worth the breath that they ride on. You have to understand the dynamic at play in this conference is, can they get a grant of rights? Is the TV deal, which is, and this goes back to Cansano's bullshit last week. Everybody agreed to a grant of rights months ago. I just held on to the story. There's no grant of rights agreed to in the Pac-12 in any way, shape, or form. There's not. Have they talked and tried? They have, which is very different than they're done with it, because they're not. They're not done with it. And the other thing that I will say is, everybody's asking, I see all the comments about what's going on in Colorado on Monday. Have no idea. Have no idea. Let's see the final draft of the minutes. Let's see the final draft of the agenda. And did they talk about exactly what was on the agenda in detail? Then we'll know. Then we'll have some idea. John Teal, we don't see going to the Big 12 as a step down. It's the knowledge that their fans are going to view us like they took our manhood in the shower.
Well,
but whose fault is that? If you're a Pac-12 fan, if you are a Pac-12 fan, whose fault is it that if your favorite university winds up in the Big 12, that you're going to get smacked for it? It's your own fault.
Yeah.
Because you've disrespected. And the thing that I struggle with is, it'd be different if the Pac-12 was routinely putting people in the college football playoff, routinely putting people in the NCAA tournament, Final Four, Elite Eight, Sweet 16, like every year, no problem. Yep, done.
Right.
But you're not. You're not. And your two premier programs in USC and your premier basketball program at UCLA just walked out the door. And you're still talking shit. And I don't understand, like, what is it that arrogance is fed by? It's fed by fear. It's fed by fear. I think Pac-12 fans have real and legitimate fear that their conference is going to break down. And
Facts.
I think you should be scared, because I think there's a real chance this could be 6 to 8 teams.
Yeah.
I think that is a distinct possibility. I think, if we're really being honest, if you lose one team, I think you could lose 6 teams in the worst case scenario. And really, if we're being honest, in the worst case scenario, you could lose 9 of these 10 teams, because I don't know where Washington State ends up. But you should be scared. You should be worried, because you're not in a sound financial position, such as and like the Big 12.
Yeah.
Who's probably in the next several years going to start writing $60 million checks.
Excellent strategy, sir.
To their membership. And they're not rebating Comcast because you can't count money. Like, you should absolutely be scared about that. There's no doubt. Truck Stop Gumby, USC, University of Scandals and Corruption. And yet here we are. Pay for play.
I don't even disagree with you, bro. But
basketball envelopes on street corners.
Yeah.
And yet, here we are. Reggie Bush, cars and houses, and yet, here we are. And it would be stunning if they didn't go to the college football playoff.
Yeah.
It'd be stunning. And yet, here we are.
Yep.
It's crazy to me. It's crazy. Andrew said earlier, you said Mark Harlan, quote, isn't thinking about the Pac-12 or the Big 12 at all, but then said it's their fiduciary responsibility to think about those things. That's not what I said. What I said was, I don't believe that Mark Harlan is like, oh yeah, we're going to the Big 12, so I don't want I think Mark Harlan's decision was, I'm not selling out to USC. I'm not getting in bed with the university that gutted this conference. I am not doing that. And as far as fiduciary responsibility goes, that'd be Taylor Randall's fiduciary responsibility, the president of the university. His job is to explore all options.
Yeah.
That's his job.
And it is important to understand the difference between president and AD, because it's a very different thing and a very different role.
Ray Anderson at Arizona State.
Yeah.
Talking about how he's never thought about another conference.
Yeah.
Yet President Crow at Arizona State has said he's talked to the Big 12. But you've never thought, like, and Ray Anderson's a terrible administrator.
And we're not the only ones saying that.
I mean, The worst. You want Mark Harlan's the best in the Pac-12. Ray Anderson is the worst athletic director in the Pac-12. Like embarrassingly bad.
Yeah.
Can't even figure it out. Bryce Martin says, now I'm wondering if talking to the Big 12 was a leverage play. Absolutely could have been.
Another angle.
Absolutely could have been.
Bro.
Will my balls itch?
Finally. Where have you been, dude?
USC has so many scandals. Why would he want to leave a cushy job for that?
Again, another fair question. See, that's what I'm saying. There's
Everything
there's
with
layers
integrity.
to this, dude. Extreme. What did he say? Extreme integrity. Or
Mark Harlan today said, to Will my balls itch's
Tremendous.
point, succeeding in all we do with tremendous integrity.
Yeah.
But now, by the way, all the scandals at USC outside of the pay for play, like the, hey, put my daughter on the rowing team even though she's never been in a water outside of a swimming pool or a bathtub. The Pete Carroll scandals, again, envelopes on street corners in basketball, all that goes away now. So NIL makes all of that surprisingly easy to forget. You know, water off a duck's back. Like, no problem, man.
Yeah.
No problem. I don't know. By the way, speaking of which, let's come back and talk about the top 100 players in the NFL. And if you are a high school football player and you want to go to the NFL, where is the one school you are going to go to? Because when you see the top 100, it is not even close. That'd be like going somewhere else for a calzone other than Papa Murphy's.
At Papa Murphy's, we do more than just pizza. We do calzones.
Papa Murphy's does calzones?
Oh, I think you mean I do the calzones.
And how do you do it, Dad?
How do I do it? How do I do it?
Well, we do it with fresh ingredients and hand-shredded cheese tucked in a scratch-made dough.
That's how, honey.
At Papa Murphy's, we make great pizza.
You don't forget the calzones.
Order now at papamurphys.com.
Papa Murphy's Pizza, the official pizza of the Monty Show. Make sure you download the Papa Murphy's app. Use the promo code Monty25 to get 25% off your purchase at $25 or more. And the calzones are everything that you would hope they would be. Telling you, man, order them at 6 a.m. for 4 p.m. pickup. Put them in the oven. Pour the meatball marinara on top of them. And I'm telling you, you are living quite well. Thank you very much. Here on the Monty Show. This hour of the show, as always, is presented by our good friends at Bucked Up Energy. Whew, Jake, I think we're in need.
Well, because I know that our takes are terrible now, and that we're getting smacked in the comments, and the show is just awful. But to all 550 of you, and to certain individuals on Twitter who are watching, here's to a Bucked Up. How about that?
There you go, Buckshot. By the way, don't forget at buckedup.com that there is absolutely a massive sale, the best sales day of the year right now going on at buckedup.com. Promo code 45 off all day long. 45% off everything at buckedup.com. All you have to do is use the promo code 45 off. I saved $211 today. I bought 10 boxes of Buckshot.
Go.
I got collagen peptides. We got BCAAs. I'm telling you, it is the sale day of the year at Bucked Up. Bucked Up Energy, the official energy provider of the Monty Show. You guys, it is absolutely been a revelation to use Bucked Up for performance versus, just, hey, I need an energy drink, I'm dragging. To use it to be a better golfer, to use it to be a better weight trainer in the gym. Their pre-workout is by far the best pre-workout. If you need to be electroshock therapied out of bed, they've got that too. Hey, you just need a little pinch on the the love handles. They've got that too. I'm telling you, it's amazing. The collagen peptides, the greens, use them every single day. Get them 45% off today at buckedup.com. One-day sale, 45% off. Use promo code 45 off. If you're just tuning into the show, we are talking about this idea that Mark Harlan, the athletic director at Utah, today turned down the opportunity to be the athletic director at USC and signed a contract extension at Utah and tweeted today, extremely honored, humble, and grateful to the Taylor Randall, president of U of U, and the board of trustees who share a vision of succeeding in all we do with tremendous integrity. We have elite students, coaches, and staff supported by a passionate community. This is our home, and we are just getting started.
Mm-hmm.
To which USC tweeted a massive investment in facilities. A new performance center is coming. It includes 3 levels of dedicated to team operations, as well as a rooftop hospitality deck, a player lounge, as well as second full-length practice fields. The new complex will feature student-athlete-centric spaces, new locker room, multiple player lounges, recovery hubs, and on and on and on. Our new home will feature a team auditorium, position meeting rooms, recruiting areas, staff offices, flexible spaces for future growth. And this place looks like a pimp pad. Like, you look at the expansion, and it's clearly pointed at USC football. And you look at the upgrade to campus, and you look at the fact that this thing is going to be unbelievable. All this does is further the reach of USC football and further the reach of USC as an absolute brand, a power brand in the Big Ten.
Yeah.
I mean, it's an incredible, incredible investment in their future.
Absolutely.
And I say kudos to Mark Harlan, the athletic director at Utah, because I think this took a lot of courage. I think it took quite a bit of, I think it took quite a bit of, I would have to think, thought and reflection to walk away from that kind of gig. I just think it's, I think it is.
Well, I think there's a lot of pride in what you've done at Utah as well.
Dude,
just as a person, like I can totally relate and empathize with the idea of like, hey, like we've done a lot of great things at Utah, and you absolutely have. I mean, obviously with football, again, I know we've mentioned a couple times on the show today, the softball program, Red Rocks, ladies basketball, like all these different programs, are having huge success. And if you're Mark Harlan, you feel like, hey, like, I'm in the process of building something great here. Now, obviously, I've been a loud critic of the men's basketball program.
Yes, you have.
Because I think that men's basketball can no longer be an afterthought, especially, and this is for all you people out there who feel like he believes in the reliability of the Big 12 option. If you truly are cool with going to the Big 12, if the Pac-12 thing doesn't work out, your basketball program's got to get better. Yeah, I mean, it's inexcusable how bad they are in men's basketball. So to me, if I'm Mark Harlan, just at a minimum, I think it's safe to say that you take a lot of pride in what you've done at Utah so far.
Yeah. I think it is. It's just spectacular to me. And to walk away from a gig like that, and we talk about this on the show all the time when guys get contracts and gigs and jobs, like you're talking about a dream job at USC. I mean, it's a great gig. It's Alabama.
Yeah.
It's Ohio State. I mean, it is the icons of college football. And Mark Harlan walked away from it.
Yep.
And then you have the top 100 players. The top 100 NFL players today, as put out by Pete Prisco. And one of the interesting questions is, well, where do great players go to play college football to get to the NFL? Well, obviously, Patrick Mahomes went through Texas Tech. Number 2, Josh Allen, small school guy. Dakotas, right? Joe Burrow went to LSU. So the list goes on and on.
But look at a guy like Joe Burrow. Not to cut you off. Joe Burrow was a wash-up at Ohio State before LSU. You think about that. Transfer kid.
I don't know that I would call him a wash-up. I think he is that Urban Meyer victim. He's that guy who just was never your guy.
Mm-hmm.
Because the minute he took the ball at LSU, it was unquestioned.
Yeah.
But I think it's very interesting when you look at the way the top 100 players break down. Mm-hmm. Alabama leads the list with 9. Patrick Surtain, Quinnen Williams, Quinnen Williams is ranked 28th on that list. Surtain's 19. Derrick Henry at 30. Ohio State is second with 7. Nick Bosa at number 4. Nick Bosa's number 4 in the NFL. Joey Bosa, number 61. Garrett Wilson, 63rd. Justin Fields, 78. Justin Fields ain't a top 100 player, man. Clemson with 6. Right? Oklahoma with 5. LSU with 5. Justin Jefferson, Jamar Chase, and of course, Joe Burrow.
Yeah.
Right? Florida State, like, I go out of my way to make this point because I think when you look at if I said to you, hey, you're a 5, a 4-star, you're a kid that's out there that can write his own ticket in college football. Your goal is to play in the NFL. And let's start with the quarterback. You're a quarterback. Where are you going to go? Alabama. You're a linebacker. Where are you going to go? Alabama. Right? Like, if I'm a top recruit and I'm at the top of my skill position, and I think skill position, wide receiver, running back, quarterback, DB, linebacker, like the core performers, right? If I want to go play in the NFL, I'm likely going to an SEC school, and if I can get to Alabama, I'm going because they routinely put guys in the NFL and at the top of the draft, right? I mean, Bryce Young, best quarterback in college football.
Yeah.
I mean, and I think you look at how many points was he away from playing in the college football playoff last year. Brian Kelly's balls kept him out.
Yeah,
right?
pretty much.
When he goes for it. But I think it's Alabama. Now, obviously, you can look at LSU. You can look at Ohio State. But it's this argument that we had, probably a month ago now, about the SEC and playing 9 games and why that's important. Because you're the SEC. You're the best college football conference in the country.
Yeah.
You're the best college football conference in the country. And I don't even think it's arguable. So, Jake, if I said to you, you could write your ticket in college athletics, what school would you go to if you wanted to be an NFL football player?
Yeah, I mean, it's the SEC and it's Alabama. I think Georgia's right there next in line. And then I think it's LSU. You know, those are the 3 that I look at and I say, hey, there's, you got a lot of guys in the league from those schools. I do think Ohio State deserves some credit from a quarterback standpoint. I think, a little bit of running back, but mostly quarterback. I think, I look around I look around the country and I don't think it gets a much more gray area. The water gets more murky as far as, hey, like this guy went, somewhere in the PAC and got to the league, or like, hey, if you're a quarterback, go to SC, right? And that doesn't mean you'll be good in the league, but you'll get to the league. Like they have a laundry list of guys, the Sam Darnolds, Mark Sanchez. Like you've got a laundry list of dudes from SC who are in the league. I think some of the best linebackers have come out of SC who are in the league. So I think you have options. But if you want to book it, if you're that 4 or 5 star recruit that is a no doubt about it NFL prospect right out of the gate, you're going to Alabama if you can. You want to be under Nick Saban, and if you can't get under Nick Saban, I would think you'd want to be under Kirby. But Ryan Day is not a bad option. I guess LSU's okay. Brian Kelly's okay. But yeah, Nick Saban's the way, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think, and some of it is positional, right? I mean, if you're at Mater Dei High School in Orange County, California, you're going to SC.
Yeah.
But man, I think this list, and again, you can look at Notre Dame with 3, Georgia with 3. I mean, if you want to go to the NFL and you have an offer from Alabama and you have an offer from Georgia,
You're going to Alabama.
you're going to Alabama.
No doubt about it.
Right? If you want to go to the NFL and you have an offer from Texas and you have an offer from Oklahoma, you're going to Oklahoma because Oklahoma puts more dudes in the NFL.
Especially if you're a quarterback.
Right? Like, it's amazing to me the ability of certain universities to put guys into the NFL. And I think, and I know we've talked about this on the show as well, I think when you look at the scumbags that run like recruiting services and you look at the guys who are like, oh yeah, I can deliver your tape to, I think that's, to me, one of the problems in high school football is I'm a 4-star. Well, I can get you a 4-star. I think what you have to do now, and I think a lot of kids are doing it because of the training academies, because of the elite level coaching, the John Becks of the world, the quarterback gurus, the Tom House people, the Elite 11s. Like, you're making, in my opinion, you're making choices. And if you're truly that good and you're identified, your 7th, 8th grade, freshman, sophomore, when you're identified, I think anymore, you got to put your foot on the gas. You got to train your body. You have to become a professional athlete in high school, because that's the only way, in my opinion, that you can put yourself in position at Alabama or Ohio State or, pick your poison.
Yep.
I just think it's the way that we put these kids in college has completely changed. And I don't think it's for the better.
Yeah.
I truly do not think it's for the better. And it's because these kids have become it's become a meat market.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, that to me is very difficult. Tanner Plummer says Kirby Smart in Georgia is the class of the SEC right now. Yeah.
Numbers might say that, but I think if you're a kid and you're looking for your path, like, it's hard to turn down Nick Saban, dude. Like, hey, and that's my opinion. Maybe disagree.
But when you've had 10 off-field incidents related to cars.
Yeah, that's a problem at Georgia.
Did you guys see that story? And I think some of this is they are becoming the victim of their own significant success.
Mm-hmm.
It is very difficult to control high-level athletes in college in their downtime. It is very difficult to control them. If you're Kirby Smart or any other coach in this country, I don't care who you are. And now with NIL and transfer portal, I think it's even more difficult.
Mm-hmm.
In God's name, image, and likeness.
Yeah, Dabo. You're talking about 10 guys at Georgia.
Yeah, that's trouble, bro.
10 guys driving-related incidents.
Yeah.
And you look at this Carter situation, you look at that. How many Georgia players were involved in that situation? I don't think we'll ever know. But that situation alone, I think that put a lot more spotlight when somebody dies, when you have a massive scandal and he's driving the most powerful SUV. And, he was driving a Jeep Grand Cherokee Trackhawk.
Yeah.
Which is just a power plant. Like, that thing is just meant to go fast. And a staffer dies, and it's just a terrible situation. But what does that do? It puts a spotlight on your program. 10 situations. That's crazy to me. All right, I want to get a couple of super chats in here as well. I appreciate you guys. Thank you very much. To Rowdy Every Point, who gives us $5 to say, if you're a Pac-12 commissioner and after expansion you are left with Utah, Stanford, Cal, Washington, Oregon State, what would you do to save the conference? Oh, jeez.
That's a tough situation,
because I don't think you can be left with that group. I don't think Stanford, Cal are going to be there. I truly don't. I don't think if the conference disintegrates, I think Utah will leave. I do. Oregon State's very interesting because we've told you repeatedly that that's the one school that everybody we talk to pretty much is like, hey, I keep an eye on Oregon State. Hey, keep an eye on Oregon State. Like, you look at the money they've invested in athletics at Oregon State, and you look at their facilities, you look at where the football program is. Now, we'll see if DJ Uiagalelei can perform. Was that a Dabo problem? Does Corvallis fix all that? We'll see. I don't know what group is going to go, but I think you're not going to get Colorado just leaving.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that's how it will go down. And again, this is my opinion based on people I've talked to. I think Colorado will go with somebody. Is that Arizona? Does the Board of Regents really make it difficult for Arizona and Arizona State to move separately? I think they will. And what does Arizona State have left in the Pac-12 if Arizona leaves? Because I think you got to consider that as well. Arizona is such an important part of Arizona State's ability to maneuver in the Pac-12. Like, they really need Arizona. And not even as like big brother. Arizona State needs Arizona as, hey, we're in lockstep. We're together. We're operating together. And I think if you have Arizona in the Big 12 and Arizona State in the Pac-12, I think it cripples Arizona State. And I know Arizona State knows that. I know they do. And I happen to know that they've been told that. that, hey, you are not the behemoth you think you are.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's why Ray Anderson came out and said, hey, yeah, we understand who we are. We're at best a top 15 team. Your athletic director said that. We're at best a top 15 team. And then 3 minutes later said, well, look at what Bobby Hurley did. I mean, he lost every kid on his basketball roster to the portal but one. We don't love this system, but that's what it is. You lost every player on your basketball roster but one, and you think that's a problem with the transfer portal? I would tell you that's the result of the problem in your basketball program.
Yeah, and that's why the Arizona State athletic program is a problem.
Yeah, and you look at the Herm scandal, all of that. You haven't recovered from that yet Sean Miller is a distant memory in Tucson.
Yep.
I think through that. Arizona's the power player there. It's not Arizona State.
Well, and I think, that's a problem in the bigger picture for the PAC as a conference as well.
Yes.
I mean, you have these different brands that operate at such different levels that, you don't have continuity through the conference. And I think that's one advantage that, certainly the Big 12 has, obviously the SEC and the Big 10, I would say. The ACC feels a little broken, feels a little scattered right now. Feels
it does.
like,
it very much does.
They're trying to make some moves. So that's why I say with the PAC, it's tough because you don't have, it's not like from top to bottom, you're all in the same place. I mean, I truly, and again, just my opinion, right? Not, I haven't been told this, but my opinion is I do think Colorado wants to leave. That's my opinion, though. I think they feel like, hey, we're a phenomenal fit for so many reasons in the Big 12, and we just don't like where we're at as an afterthought in the Pac-12.
Yeah, I think it's very interesting. I think it is very, very interesting to see exactly, and I think that's a great point, man. I think it's really interesting to see exactly, Rowdy, where everybody ends up.
Yeah.
Because I still maintain the percentage has to be in favor of the Pac-12 staying together, because we've seen nothing to indicate that for certain they're going to break up.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing. Because I think, again, it's June 15th. If you were going to have a mass exodus, I think it would have happened already. But they have the time and the space.
Yeah.
They have the time and the space to do what they want. Hey, look, Greg Swaim is thirsty. Look at that. No ASU or Utah. The Big 12 already has the top programs in the two states. Thanks for exposing yourself as having no idea what you're talking about, Greg. Greg's that guy. Who is, no, I'm not even going to justify my guy. I mean, hey, man.
Wait, what did he say?
He said that no ASU or Utah, the Big 12 already has the top programs in the two states. You don't have the top program in Arizona, and you don't have the top program in Utah. But hey, not knowing the lay of the land is exactly who you are, dude. Right? Like, that's exactly who you are, man.
Yeah.
It's awesome to me that Greg Swaim tweets about us, watches the show, comments on the show now, like takes our information, uses it on his show. So Greg Swaim's the type of dude who has multiple Twitter accounts and is tweeting insults at me from another account. So I said to him, hey, good job tweeting at me from your other account. And he blocked me on Twitter so that, he thinks other people can't see that.
Yeah.
That's awesome. To which I say, hey, man.
By the way, Greg, I appreciate you, bro. Thanks for
being here,
and pushing
dude.
the show, man. Appreciate that.
Thanks for being here.
Yeah. I mean,
what do you mean that the Big 12, this is this cat, the Big 12 has the biggest school in Arizona? I'm not sure who you're referencing, dude. The guy, that's amazing to me.
Yeah.
Hey, man, welcome to the show. Let's see. DSW says, Greg Swaim, not sure what friends they are bashing, and if it's true, still no need to bash back. Better ways to diss them, like by not watching or commenting on their show. He doesn't understand how technology works. It's amazing to me. It's amazing to me. Clint Mose says, no idea. Like, what do you mean they have the biggest school in Utah and they have the biggest school in Arizona?
Yeah.
Because the Big 12 does not. Immaculate says, is that the real Greg Swaim? Oh, I'm certain it is. I'm certain it is. The guy has begged to come on our show for I don't know how long. Like forever. Tanner Plummer says the Big 12 doesn't even have a school in Arizona. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. Jeremy Callahan says, hail Harlan. Hey, man. I think Mark Harlan Incredible.
You know what I find interesting about college football versus other sports? People get real pissy about college football real quick.
And I've never understood that.
Like, I look at, like, just sitting here while, Greg makes a fool of himself. I was pondering and reflecting on the idea of, like, why is it so hard to understand that this concept of, hey, the Pac-12 in their member institutions don't necessarily want to leave. Like, they like their educational relationships. They don't necessarily want to leave, but they will if they have to.
That pisses people off
Why
so
does
much.
that upset so many people?
No idea.
I think about another take that's been widely accepted in the media. Like, we're not the only ones saying it. I do feel like we originated it, but that's just my opinion. Why is it so controversial to say, the Big 12 is not a step down for the PAC or any of its member institutions? It's not. It's
idea.
Equal. In fact, financially, it's running circles around you. Educationally is the only place where, you're stepping down a touch. I just don't understand why it's such a hot take.
And the other thing I don't understand is, why is it such a hot take to say, again, Utah? Utah would come into the Big 12 and compete for the Big 12 championship today in football.
Yeah.
Why is that so shocking? And I think it's shocking because most people probably don't watch Utah football.
Yeah.
Would Arizona compete for a basketball championship? No, probably not. Would Arizona State? No, they're a top 15 program max. Ask their athletic director. Would Colorado? No, they wouldn't. But if we're talking about likely Big 12 candidates, which are not Oregon and Washington, Stanford and Cal, because they are not likely to go to the Big 12, Utah could go in, I think, in track and field. I think in women's basketball, women's softball, certainly football, and compete at the top of the conference right now.
Mm-hmm.
Right now. Without question. Like, the football program at Utah is, without question, one of the best in the country. Kyle Whittingham, and I've said this, and I know every Big 12 fan lights me up for it. Kyle Whittingham's top 5 coach in the entire country.
Saban, Kirby, Ryan Day.
I think you got to put Kirby there. I think Kyle Whittingham is easily on par with Ryan Day.
I would go Saban, Kirby, Ryan Day, Lincoln Riley, and Kyle Whittingham. Those would be my 5. I don't think that Brian Kelly right now is top 5. I don't
think so either.
As far as Dabo's concerned, you need to show me you can win without Trevor Lawrence. Right?
And you need to show me that you can win when you're not already crowned the champion of the ACC.
Yeah. Well, that's another fair point. Yeah.
It'd be like, because the Pac-12, you can say a lot of things about the Pac-12. The Pac-12 is a meat grinder in football.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, they routinely feed on themselves.
Well, and how many times has SC got knocked down because they had to go to Corvallis? Like, how many times?
Or like how many Washington State Friday night games have killed championship aspirations in the Pac-12?
Yep.
I mean, like, you did it to yourself. So I think there are a lot of controversial takes between the Pac-12 and the Big 12 and the Big 12 and the Pac-12. Like, knock yourself out, dude. I think it's very interesting to me that you have all of this. And I just don't understand why it has to get that way. I have no idea. Let's see. Tanner Plummer. I love Kyle Whittingham. I wish he decided to come to BYU in 2005. I think a lot of Utah fans would hate that take. Michael Peck, Dabo better than Day. Ryan Day's interesting. I mean, I'm a big Ryan Day guy. I think it's almost impossible to do what Ryan Day's done in Ohio State.
Meaning what?
Well, just right out the gate, replacing Urban Meyer. When Purban left there, and who were you going to get? Do you know that the thimble size of names? And Ryan Day, I think, has done a great job. Yeah. Ryan Day's done a very good job there.
Yeah.
A very good job. And I think he wins. It's never good enough because I think he is, and again, this is just me. I think Ryan Day is not the power personality that Urban Meyer was.
Yeah.
And I think that when you're trying to replace that guy and you're trying to do it in the the swagtastic fashion that, Herbs did it when he was at the top of his game. I think it's really difficult to be that guy. But when you look at the fact that Ryan Day has never in a full season won less than 11 games.
Does that say he's 45-6 overall?
Yes.
I mean, dude.
And he's 31-2. Now, granted, it's the Big Ten, which is the Big Three.
Which is fair. That's
really,
fair.
the Big 2.5. Okay?
Yeah.
But what's the only game that matters every single year to Ohio State? Got to beat Michigan.
Every year.
And how has he done?
Got to be Jim in his khakis.
And he's done it pretty regularly. And when you look at the fact that he's gone to the college football playoff, the Rose Bowl, that absolute melee with Utah, like he's finishing 13-1, 7-1, 11-2, and 11-2.
And putting guys in the league.
I mean, it's unbelievable.
Yeah.
The job he's done, and Ryan Day doesn't get any credit for it. Ryan Day, he just is that guy. Ryan Day's that guy who slides under the radar.
Well, and I think what's interesting is when you compare, if you compare Saban and Ryan Day gets penalized because Ohio State is viewed as a football machine, like a football factory, right? That puts guys in the league.
Totally agree.
Quarterback after quarterback. But then you go to Alabama, and it's like, hey, Alabama isn't Alabama without Nick Saban, so he deserves all the credit in the world. And that's what I think is tough for Ryan Day because of Urban Meyer and what he built. Nick Saban basically turned Alabama into, a juggernaut from nothing, absolutely nothing. And Ryan Day, comes in and has been tasked with, hey, fly under the radar, but still put guys in the league and be a good team and, be in the college football playoff every year. So Ryan Day's done a good job of not getting frustrated with that aspect.
I would agree with that 100%. I just think it's a tough way to make a living. I think it's a very tough way to make a living. I see you guys battling. I want to talk about this one right here. Keep sleeping on Jonathan Smith. Dude, the Beavs are good. I don't think we've slept on Jonathan Smith at all. But you have to do something significant. Mm-hmm. You have to, if you're Jonathan Smith in Oregon State, you have to shock the world. That's the minimum bar that has to be met there for him to break out on the national stage, to break out on the conference stage. You're in a conference where, frankly, you have two heavyweights of college football in your conference.
Yeah.
And when you look at Kyle Whittingham and you look at his accomplishments and his record and the guys he's put in the NFL and you go down to SC and you already know what Lincoln's done, I think it's going to take a lot of significance. We'll talk about that. I want your comments on who's the best coach in college football after we hear from the Advocates.
Getting knocked around in an accident is awful. That's why you need someone to look out for you. Call the Advocates for your free consultation, and we'll keep you from getting knocked around. Yes.
Yep, the Advocates at theadvocates.com. Make sure you tell them you heard about it on the Monty Show. And again, guys, if you were hurt at work today, man, you need the Advocates, guys, because they're here to defend you. They're here to fight for you at the Advocates, and they do it without asking you to pay them any money up front. You can chat with an attorney live online for free 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. You never pay a retainer. You never pay a consultation fee at theadvocates.com. In fact, go there right now, chat with an attorney, tell them you heard about it on the Monty Show. Let's get to, man, you guys are feisty today.
Yeah.
You're feisty. Dave Patrick, no way Utah comes close to Tech and track. Okay.
You're talking, dude.
Okay. Gary Goderoff says Brian Kelly. Brain Kelly. No. I'm a Notre Dame fan, dude. Seriously. You know. Our favorite Floridian, Maury Alvarez, if you're going to the NFL, you go to a better man. Yes, you do.
Nick Saban is a better man than you are.
See, that's
Yes,
the kind of
you do.
energy I need in the chat, bro. That's what I need.
Yes, you do. Big Bad Brass Balls says pick one. Mark Harlan or Tom Homo. You pick one.
Mark Harlan.
I think it's close.
I think my honest opinion on that, thanks for a reasonable take and question. Appreciate you. Tom Homo did a hell of a job in Independence, and I think that's the only reason they're in the Big 12. I think Mark Harlan has done a phenomenal job wading through the pandemic and being patient
agree with
and
that.
building
I would agree with that.
Utah. So right now, I would take Mark Harlan. But hey, if BYU overachieves and if somehow BYU finds their way mid-table in the Big 12 in the first 3 years, Tom Homo deserves a lot of credit for that.
Yeah. No, I don't even disagree. I think Tom Homo is an operator. There are few dudes in college athletics that I respect more because I just think he's done such a good job.
Yeah.
He's done such a good job. Paul Schultz. The Big 12 is a G5 conference starting next year.
Next comment.
There you go. Truck Stop Gumby. Rip Village Inn. Did Village Inn close?
Did it really?
Man, Village
I did not see that, dude.
Long time. Truck Stop Gumby says, Pilgrim, you got this. You got this, Pilgrim.
Yes, Village Inn in Utah is done.
Is it really?
Yep.
I did not know that. Immaculate says, interesting. All right, then. Guess we got a little drama going on live.
We do.
What drama are we speculating?
Just the comment section being dramatic today.
Yeah, sometimes it happens. Andrew says, stop throwing insults. Who's throwing insults? Sam J, remember, Utah has been vetted to go to the Big Ten. Yeah, I don't know about all that. Does Harlan know something we don't? Why would he leave to go to USC when he can stay at Utah and go to the same conference as them? Could be.
Yeah.
Could absolutely
that's a fair
be.
take, dude.
Todd James says, Paul must be a troll. Top college basketball conference is not G5. Please go join Greg in the corner of delusions.
Jesus.
But like, it's serious. Like the insults to the Big 12, like, it's just funny. It's fun. The bias in your fandom. I wish that we could drop filters on people's brains where they would take their fandom out of their sports takes.
Couldn't look at Neuralink if you want.
If you take out your fandom, all of a sudden your common sense has more room to expand, right? Like, and that's why I'm a Notre Dame fan. I'm not a Big 12 fan. I am not a Pac-12 fan. I just have happened to cover the Pac-12 for a decade and been around the Pac-12 for a decade, and it's not a great conference.
Yeah.
The member institutions, best in the business. The conference, nah, bro. Cougar Tracks, can we all just get along? Seriously, You guys are a little dialed up today.
Stay hard.
You guys are a little dialed up today. You know. Jeremy Callahan says, Conference of Champions, hail Walton. All right, Calzone. Troy W says, 0 sources today. I don't know what you mean by that.
Yeah, what does that
Truck
mean?
Stop Gumby says, why can't we be friends? I don't know. Drew Christensen, sorry, Greg, I'm a diehard BYU fan, and even I'm not delusional enough to say BYU is the best school in the state. Maybe BYU develops into that in the Big 12, but no way is that the case right now. It's just uneducated.
Yeah, I think
it's uneducated.
Dude, the reasonable take is, hey, BYU clearly understands how to build a brand to a point where they can get into a P5. And I think they deserve a ton of credit for that and a lot of respect. And frankly, you know, we're out of college football season right now. We haven't talked a ton of BYU recently, although we do during the season. I think right now is go time if you're Kalani in that football program. Because, by the way, everyone, for all my Dion people saying, hey, Buddy's got to win. Yeah. Kalani Sitake might want to find a way to win 3 games this year. Seriously.
Buddy's got to win.
Buddy's got to win. One game is not going to get it done, Dion. One game is not going to get it done, Kalani. And yeah, you fired a bunch of people. You brought in Jay Hill. You brought in some
gotta
people.
Win.
He does. They do. There's no way around it. And so when we talk about BYU versus Utah,
I love it.
Utah's been doing the winning. Now BYU needs to answer that if they want to be in the same conversation.
Yeah, I don't disagree. I think winning cures a lot of people. You know, I think it cures a lot of people. DSEW, you guys are being honest and truthful with your takes is sadly always going to bring haters to the show, but you handle that issue well. The problem is, Swaim's a perfect example. He's begged to be a guest on our show repeatedly.
For months.
Repeatedly. You guys know we don't just put, hey, average dude. With all due respect to Greg Swaim, it's not personal. I don't know Greg. I don't know what he does. I have no idea what his credentials are. I know he's a YouTuber like we are. Great, cool, man. That's awesome. But we don't put average dude writer on the show. When's the last time you guys saw us put a writer on the show? Who do we put on? We put on principals, athletes, people at TV networks. We put on principals on the show. That's what our brand has always been. So we don't just simply, say, okay, well, we'll put, writer dude on the show. The only guy that we were going to put on the show before, unfortunately, he passed was Blue and Gold dude. Like, we were talking to his guy about having him on the show. We may have done a collab. That's it. But we don't put average dude on the show.
I don't believe, and hey, in the comments, sidebar, tell me if I'm wrong. I don't believe you come to this show for beat writer's opinion. You can get beat writer's opinion anytime you want.
Not hard to find it.
You come to the show because, A, you want the experience of listening to the show. Some days it's great. Other days, maybe you have a rough time in the comments section.
Dude, this show sucks every day.
I know, it's terrible. But
you know it, and Swaim knows it.
I know. Swaim knows it.
Which
all the
is
bots
why
on
he's
Twitter
here
know
watching the show.
And that's why I say, I'm me personally, I'm a big believer that we've done pretty good work. No matter who you are, no matter how much you want to hate on us, we've done some really good work over the last, I would say, year and a half, whether it's Jazz, Pac-12 TV deal, college football realignment, and that's brought a lot of new faces and names to the chat. There's no doubt about it. So, great, Greg. Hey, dude, bro, comment, please. Run your asinine takes in our comment section because all that does is tell YouTube you like our show. Please.
That's the funny thing. They're like, I'm going to troll him. Okay, please do.
Please.
Comment away.
Please.
Friends. Comment away.
Please.
Hit the like button. It helps the channel grow.
Thank you.
Come on now. Cowboy Country says, I've known Greg Swaim since 1999. He's a legit expert when it comes to basketball, specifically Big 12 basketball. He used to work at Triple Play Sports in Stillwater. I don't know what is. I have never heard of Triple Play Sports.
I guess the inning ended.
There you go. Tanner Plummer, Kalani is a good coach, but I don't feel like he has a killer instinct and he doesn't handle adversity well. This could continue to hurt the program in the Big 12. I would agree. Kalani is very nice. He is very nice. And that, I think that does not always translate to wins. And it does not always translate to what's best for building a football program. But we'll see now, because I think he's got 2 years. He needs to win games starting right now. He needs to win games because they spent a lot of money to overhaul the program.
Yep.
So we'll see. Let's see. Truck Stop Gumby says, I loves the Monty Showgram. Program. Appreciate that. Michael Peck says, I've been watching you guys for a couple of years and can't think of a time you brought on a writer. Never have done it. Never have done it. I mean, it's just not our brand. It's not what we do. Tom Dubé, trying to figure out how on point your mark is putting emphasis on basketball. There are about 3 times as many basketball games versus football games. Each football game gets more viewers, but how much more are football game production costs? So I think you're exactly right.
I love that.
And it's the biggest handicap for the Pac-12 right now. They're in this fight for their existential crisis, because they can't build, they can't develop, they can't grow, they can't extend their reach. They can't go to Mexico. They can't go to Rucker Park. They can't even talk about those deals because they are so focused on just surviving, just trying to be a conference, that you're unable to build in new revenue streams. And I think it's really crippling. It's really crippling them. And I know a lot of people talk about how, it's taken forever to get a TV deal. This is one of the reasons it's a huge problem.
Yeah.
It is a huge problem because when you don't have a TV deal, you can't do the things that the Big 12 has done. I mean, if you just think about the fact that they hired a commercial director, they hired a guy whose only job is to sell branding deals for the conference. You've got NFL Pro Day coming to Dallas. You've got, again, Big 12 Media Day in Dallas. You've got Big 12 Football Media Day in Dallas. You've got the Big 12 Tournament in Kansas City, Mexico City, Monterrey, Mexico, Rucker Park. Just all of these things that it feels like every week they're announcing some new revenue stream in the Big 12.
Facts.
And you're distributing, you're probably distributing $50 million year one of the new deal.
Yeah.
I mean, because The other thing that you're not thinking about is the Big 12 came to market early. I believe their new TV deal starts 2025. So you have all this ramp-up time now to build in all of this new infrastructure into your TV revenue because you're only at 31.7.
Yeah.
And again, contrast the 31.7 in the Big 12 to whatever the Pac-12 ends up at. The difference is Brett Yormark has spent the better part of the last year sprinting forward, putting new revenue on top of that TV deal. So you're not just getting $32 million, you're getting $50 million and $60 million. And that just keeps escalating and growing because he's got a whole team now that's deployed to making revenue. Their only job is to bring new revenue to the conference.
And how much does that calm the waters in the conference amidst, the ACC thing? Because I am a big buyer on the concept that, like the Mark Harlans and the Taylor Randalls as an example.
Yes.
ADs and presidents are paying attention to the greater, national landscape about what different conferences are doing here and there. And they're, it's like Bobby Robbins at Arizona being in DC and, talking to all these people. And like these people all mingle together. So if you're Brett Yormark, you understand that, hey, dude, like 31.7 is a cool number, but we got to push that up. We got to get to 50.
But think about all those athletic directors and presidents really that were in DC at the hearings, right?
Yeah.
What are they all doing? They're all talking to each other.
Yeah.
They're all talking. And you have Pac-12 presidents who are quite literally in a group of power players, global power players. And they're like, hey, by the way, congratulations on your grant of rights. Congratulations, man. And they're like, what grant of rights? What are you talking about? Oh, it's being reported that your grant of rights is done. And they're like, no, dude, it's not. Trust me. Like, think about that.
Yeah.
You're in a group of industry and global power players, politicians, people that make influential decisions, and are your peers, and I mean, just a massive group of people. And you're trying to no, there's no grant of rights. That's not true. That's where the Pac-12 is. Big 12 is like, good job. Way to go. Our grant of rights is done, and we're open for business. And you're having like networking meetings because that's all these people do. That's all these people do.
Yeah.
Right? Like it's crazy to me. Larry Keith says Big 12 fans need to stop worrying about the Pac-12 and focus on getting excited for the new schools like BYU. The future is bright, so let's focus on that for a little bit. I totally agree with you, but I think it's awfully difficult to do that when you have Colorado's meeting lingering over your head on Monday, or it's really the inability of the Pac-12 to control the media narrative has been difficult. Truck stop Gumby, Mexico is dangerous right now. Better off in Canada. Yeah, by the way, please don't go vacation in Mexico. Did you hear about those? At a resort, I think it was 3 Americans died at a resort in Baja of chemical poisoning.
What?
By gas.
People died in Mexico on vacation?
And they're already thinking it was air conditioning exhaust that killed these people while they took a nap in their hotel room, flipped on the air conditioner, and it killed them. Because that's happened repeatedly across Mexico because there is no oversight of things like carbon monoxide and smoke detectors and monoxide detectors. And so it's happened repeatedly. I'm not vacationing in Mexico anytime soon. I'm just saying.
But I know we're not supposed to worry about Big 12 athletes in Mexico.
OG Gary, what's up, Gary? Is the Pac-12 done burning? Not quite yet.
Nah.
Not quite yet. Not quite yet. Jeremy Calzone, Big 12 kebab, Big 12 sandwich. Yeah, presented by Oklahoma State, right? Truck stop Gumby, the Big 12 foot long.
There you go.
Tanner Plummer says 2 years for Kalani. I'm giving him at least 4. This is going to be a grind for BYU. But it depends on what that 2 years entails.
Yeah.
If it's 2 wins and you win 4 games in 2 years, the seat's going to be smoking hot. C. Kaufman said, I wish someone had the answer to my question.
What question would that be,
What question would that be, C. Kaufman? Because we get a lot of comments. It's hard for me to read them all. I apologize if I missed your comment. So
tip
just
us 1 cent so it highlights it. So
Yeah,
it's easier to find, bro. And I'm not even like, we're not trying to dodge your question. We're getting. I mean, we must have 4,000 comments
something
already,
like that. Yeah.
like just some insane like. Please, it really helps if you have a question that you're dying to get answered. I'm not asking you to tip for the money. Make it 1 cent. We just need it highlighted so it's easier to find.
Mike S says, me hearing this going to Mexico tomorrow. Are you really, dude?
And kick a person when he's down.
Don't turn on the air conditioner, dude. Michael Peck, that happened in the Dominican Republic a few years ago while I was there.
Saying. So
because there's no regulation of it.
That's what I mean. So are you really telling? Like last week, I rolled out the take that, hey, I'm happy for the Big 12 that you're doing this Mexico thing, and I think it's great, and I think there's a huge market down there, and business-wise, it's awesome. I love it. But safety, that's a big red flag if I'm Brett Yormark. I'm looking at that, and I'm saying, okay, where's the facility? And we're going to have that. We will have an itinerary that is down to, the minute on where these dudes need to be, and we're keeping that thing on lock.
I'm just telling you, man. If you're thinking about going to Mexico, I would, and if you're thinking about hey, I'm thinking I'm going to move to Mexico, I would be like, well, hey, dude, that doesn't mean you can't go to trydaytrading.com/Monty and become one of the best day traders ever seen in North America. Because you can be a day trader in Mexico at trydaytrading.com/Monty, where you can get a $10 30-day membership. And the $10 is donated to charity at trydaytrading.com. I talk about it every day. And every day somebody will say, is that legit? Absolutely, it's legitimate. I am a guy, and I will even tell you, because I look at my stocks every single day. Mm-hmm. People ask me all the time, hey, you don't have stocks.
Hey, Monty.
While we talk about trydaytrading.com and while you go there and sign up for the $10 membership for 30 days, I will inform you now that I was up $1,014.37 on the day. And that was largely due to, very nice day for GE was up today. Amazon was up today. Back to breaking even. Nice day for Pfizer.
And the cool thing
today,
is,
American Airlines had a good day today.
Cool thing is, my guy over here is not having to sit on the computer and enter the launch codes to make the trades.
No, I'm not.
It's all, you can automate it all through their program.
It's super easy to use. And the best part about Tri-Day Trading is they want to give it all to you free, essentially, for 30 days. That $10 does not stay in their pocket. It goes to charity. It's a tax write-off for you. And you get their full coaching program. You get access to all their processes, their systems, their algorithms. They're going to teach you how to be one of the best day traders in the world. And I will just ask you again, hey, did you make $1,000 today? I know you woke up and you said your boss is a dick and you want to find a better job and you're tired of commuting and you're really upset they made you go back to the office. TryDayTrading.com/Monty. Hey, did you make $1,000 today? Oh, you didn't. TryDayTrading.com/Monty. Hey, did you make $200 today? Oh, you didn't. TryDayTrading.com/Monty. See, there are people who work a full-time job and in the morning, they set up all their trades for the day. And as Jake was talking about, you have a software and you have an algorithm that makes those trades for you throughout the day because they're going to teach you how to use those systems. So you spend an hour in the morning, you set up your trades, you leave the house, you come home, you weren't even thinking about it. You made $200, $300, $400, $500 today.
Yeah.
Oh, you want to do this full time? You want to have your own business and work for yourself and provide yourself the life you've always dreamed of? TryDayTrading.com/Monty, because their full-time traders make $1,000 a day. And the best part is when you're ready to start trading and you're ready to become a day trader, you trade TryDayTrading.com's money. They give you an account and they make a deposit in your account. You trade that money first. And if you make money, they give you 80% of the profit. TryDayTrading.com/Monty. Sign up for the 30-day $10 membership, no strings attached. You're done after 30 days? Okay, cool. Emma Harrington joins the show every week and says, hey, man, if you don't know in 30 days, you're probably never going to know. That's exactly right. TryDayTrading.com/Monty. Make sure you tell me you heard about it. On the Monty Show, Rowdy Every Point says Raytheon, McDonnell Douglas, and Boeing are guaranteed long-term winners because of NATO nations who have depleted the military arsenal. Dude, truer words have never been spoken. I'm telling you, there is money sitting there to be made. I'm a huge market guy. I'm a huge market guy. Huge market guy. I love it. Clint Mose says, send me Mo money and I'll read it at the Big 12 slant Kurtz. What do you mean? What do you mean? Oklahoma State, Clint says, lost their rival. There you go, BYU. Yeah, I am so upset about Bedlam. We've talked about this all week, I feel like. C. Kaufman, the question was, can the Pac-12 vote on anything with the Oregon president not in office yet? Yes, they can. It's not an issue. It is not holding anything up. They have an interim in place who is running the ship. And they've named their president, I think it's 10 days, something like that. So it won't be long. Ron Nolan says Tijuana Tech is moving to the Big 12. That's cool. I think their mascot is the Chicklet. Okay. You know. Steve Lees says Clint Mose, OU Okie Light want a rival. It was a practice game for OU. Who cares if it was a practice? So then we shouldn't play Oklahoma OU because it was a practice game and OU wins every year. Well, then why do we play Ohio State, Michigan? Ohio State wins every year, right? This is amazing to me. This is still the same thing I say about the Holy War, BYU and Utah. But don't play it. Nobody cares. Everybody cares. Everybody cares about Bedlam. There's not a Sooner fan in the world who doesn't want you. You check the box, right? Oklahoma State never wins that game. It's a guaranteed win. Why wouldn't you want to play it? Oh, that's right. You're just being a jerk.
Do you think Oregon cared when they lost to Oregon State? And that opened the door for Utah?
Exactly right. Exactly right. Ron Bohr. This one's for Johnny Two Holes, Coach Prime. I don't know who.
Do you know
who's Johnny Two Holes?
I don't know who Johnny Two Holes is.
I have no idea who that is. Borlawn Angel. What happens to the future Pac-12 out-of-conference scheduling if TV deal is majority streaming? Yeah, it's a really good question.
That's a great question, sir.
What else are you not announcing? You're not announcing future scheduling, and you're not.
Yeah, dude.
You're not really recruiting.
What were you 8 weeks behind every other conference's media day announcement? Right? Like you were way behind on that.
We'll see, man. We shall see. Larry Pilgrim, Washington versus Michigan State is on Peacock thanks to the Big Ten. You ain't wrong. You ain't wrong. Wasn't Napoleon Dynamite filmed at Boise State? I have no idea. Was it?
No idea.
That would be awesome. OG Gary, I would love to see Utah BYU every year.
Yeah.
Every single year.
Yes.
Every year. Jeremy Calzone. Jake, make the super chat 1 cent so we can send it. Kurtz, you can drive the conversation by donating money to the super chat.
Yeah, just so you guys are aware, like, I love you for tipping us.
I've lost track of the names and Johnny Two Holes and Kurtz. Okay, that's cool.
Yeah, Kurtz is a Big 12 guy. He's a Big 12 commenter.
Okay.
Like a Big 12, he does something. I don't know what he does.
Yeah, we read comments whether you guys pay for them or not.
Yeah, I'm not. My point that I was going to make is that, it's we appreciate when you tip us, obviously, and that money goes into studio builds and infrastructure for the show and better tech for the show and like basically things to make the show better. But there are a lot of times where we're getting, and I'm not even joking, and I'm sure you can see in the comments section, thousands of comments. And so, C. Kaufman, sometimes you're going to need to donate 1 cent so it highlights it for us. That was my point with that. We don't necessarily need the money.
We read every super chat.
Yeah.
So if you want to get your comment read, that's the best way. But yeah. OG Gary says Kurtz is 12 content only. Oh, okay. That's cool. Cool. Cougar Tracks, same way Utah won't play Utah State. Well,
yeah, but P5 versus G5.
Yeah. Like now there's a reason they're incentivized not to. Tanner Plummer says Napoleon Dynamite was filmed in Preston, Idaho. I've been there. It's as empty as it looked in the movie.
Okay.
That's cool. Truck Stop Gumby says the landscape looked beautiful, though. All right. That's cool. Cowboy says John Kurtz is a YouTube show, and John Kurtz. He's a K-State guy. Okay.
Okay, cool.
That's cool.
Yeah.
I've lost track of all the names. I'm not being disrespectful
You said John Kurtz sucked. You said Greg Swaim is an asshole.
But who's got time If you are John Kurtz or Greg Swaim, apparently has time, who's got time to sit around, do your own show, and then go watch other shows? Like, who in the world has time for that? I laid down in bed last night at 10:45, and I was like, God damn, where did the day go? Like, who's got time for that? Not only do we, like, yesterday we were making content at PXG getting a club fitting. Then we run up here to meet a graphic guy because we're changing the wall wrap. And then we're trying to build the show. Like, who's got time for that? I with all due respect, this is where I always tell my wife, some days I wish I just had a 9 to 5. And then at 5
fucking ass.
And at 4:59 and 59 seconds, I'm getting out of my desk and I'm going golfing.
Yeah, it's the meme on Instagram, right? Hey, the house is burning down at your 9 to 5, but it's 5:01. You're checked out.
I'm out. I'm out. Right? Like, there are some days I am envious of that because I get up at 5 every day and I go to bed at like 10:45 every day, and it just like it's gone. I wish I had time. I don't, because I probably wouldn't. But I wish I had time to sit around and watch YouTube shows. And I appreciate those of you who do. But doing a YouTube show is a ton of time commitment. Like, it's really, I don't know how people do it.
I do. Because we do it.
Yeah.
And it's an ass kicking.
No, I don't know how people have time to do their YouTube show and then go watch other YouTube shows.
Oh, yeah.
Because this is 6-7 hours of our day alone, just preparing for the show, calling people, talking to people, like writing the content, like all that stuff. That's like 6-7 hours a day. Like, all I do is read. Like, I don't know how people have time to do it. Cowboy Country says your wall wrap is really cool. Where did you get it? A company called Alpha Graphics does it for us. And the Baketress on the show designs them. And then we get it printed. Jet Wayman says, sup, boys, let's talk about the Jazz moving up. I would love it if we could draft Scoot. Let's do that. On the Monty Show, after we tell you about our good friends at Papa Murphy's Pizza. Tell you every day about the calzones, but man, you got to dump the meatball marinara right on top of it.
At Papa Murphy's, we do more than just pizza. We do meatballs and marinara.
Papa Murphy's does meatballs?
Oh, I think you mean I do the meatballs and marinara?
And how do you do it, Dad?
How do I do it?
Oh, well, we do it with savory ground beef
Covered in tangy marinara. That's how, honey.
At Papa Murphy's, we make great pizza.
And don't forget the meatballs.
Order now at papamurphys.com.
Papa Murphy's Pizza. Make sure you download the Papa Murphy's mobile app. It's the easiest way to order. Dude, I could use a Papa Murphy's pie, some calzone. Their take and bake chocolate chip cookies, dudes, the best in the business. Hook it up at Papa Murphy's. Make sure you use promo code Monty25 to get 25% off your purchase of $25 or more at Papa Murphy's Pizza. Hold on. Every time that Teddy Wayman shows up, Monty O's a ribeye shows up. Have we seen?
You delivered a Draper. Okay, that's a good reference.
Have we seen them in the same room?
Dude.
I don't know if we have. Jeremy, Larry Pilgrim says, you guys need to start doing back of the envelope talking points and save time.
Back of the envelope calculations.
That's awesome. Jeremy Calzone says, I do this passively while working, but it's different for you. Like when my point is not, hey, you guys are assholes for what? No. When I worked at Yelp, all I did was I had earbuds in and I listened to sports radio all day long. I did that all day long, right? But when you do a YouTube show all day, you're doing a YouTube show because it's not just, like 2 to 5 we don't just do it 2 to 5 every day.
Yeah.
Like it's the first thing I do when I wake up at 5. I have a list of sites that I read for updates. Go to the gym, go hit some golf balls, whatever I'm going to do to work out. And then it's like, hey, it's on, dude. I'm here every morning at like 7:45-ish. And you're flipping through Twitter, you're flipping through the news blogs, you're reading, and then we sell our show all day. And then at noon, we shoot a bunch of shorts. And then by 1 o'clock, we're building the show, we're doing the show build out. Like it just runs. And now, it's 4 o'clock Pacific right now. Like I don't, the time just flies. The time just flies, man. So yeah, back of the envelope calculations would be just fine.
Back of the envelope calculations.
Jet Wayman says, LOL, when we have time, Monty owes a ribeye. Absolutely. It's a ribeye steak. And I'm actually looking forward to it. I haven't seen Teddy Wayman in forever, since the Jazz game we went to.
Yeah.
The Jazz won't trade up for Henderson. They want Dick at 9. Well, I don't know why you have to describe players as Dick. We'll see. Let's talk about it. The Monty Show, as always, is presented by our friends at The Advocates, theadvocates.com. The best injury attorneys in the business, hands down, and I say it every day, and I know you guys are probably tired of hearing me talk about it. I love the fact that the Advocates do not ask you to pay them up front. The Advocates never ask you to pay them unless and until they win your case. So they're going to help you defer your medical bills, right? They understand that sometimes it's hard to pick up a phone and talk about the accident you were in. So you can chat with them live online 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, theadvocates.com. Make sure you tell them you heard about it on the Monty Show. The Advocates, the best injury attorneys in the business, theadvocates.com. Let's talk about the Utah Jazz. To kick off hour number 3 of the show, sources close to the team today told us that the Jazz are targeting multiple point guards in the NBA draft, and specifically Amen Thompson and Scoot Henderson, and they are willing to give up significant draft assets to do that. Obviously, the Jazz have the 9th pick in the first round right now, but we've been working on this story for the better part of a week because it doesn't seem in a rebuild that you would sit at number 9 and hang on to all your picks. That doesn't seem like the practical application of a rebuild. But what you would do is in this draft aggressively pursue one of your biggest needs. And in my opinion, their 2 biggest needs are power forward and point guard. And in this draft, I don't think there's any doubt. And I almost think it's universal that when you look at the point guard prospects in this draft, the workouts that Scoot Henderson has had the last 10 days have been described to me as spectacular. His body has grown. He has built his body. His physique is chiseled. His jump shot, he has tweaked his release. His jump shot looks really clean. He is saying all the right things. The NBA is quickly beginning to fall in love with Scoot Henderson at that 2nd pick. And what that does for Charlotte is that builds a hell of a lot of equity in that 2nd pick. And I think when you look at the Utah Jazz, I think Scoot Henderson and Amen Thompson are the 2. And I think that they are willing to give up multiple first-round picks and a later-round pick to get that done. And I don't know specifically that the Jazz would be willing to give up a lot of future draft capital. I think they'd be willing to give up multiple picks in this first round of this draft to get up to number 2 to get the point guard that they want. And I think if they get to number 2, obviously they are targeting Scoot Henderson, because if you do some simple math here, I don't think you need to go past 4 to get Amen Thompson. But our sources today that we talked to said that the Jazz are targeting number 2. And if they're not able to get number 2, I think they would go to number 4. And I think, Jake, it makes a lot of sense that when you have the assets that they have and you have the timeline that we know that Danny Ainge and the Jazz are working on, this is the draft to be aggressive in.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that, this is why you brought Danny Ainge in. I think Danny Ainge is an operator, and my expectation for Danny Ainge is to be very productive in this draft. And that could be a number of different things. It could be trading up to get Scoot. It could be trading up to get, Amen Thompson. Like there are many different ways that you could go here. But to me, I think this whole conversation around needing a point guard, because that's what I put as the top priority. Yes, power forward is really important, but I think with where the Jazz are at right now, the players you have on your roster, you need someone to initiate that offense. You need someone to reliably bring the ball up and give your offense some pace, because in watching this team last year, their biggest problem was inconsistency with how quickly they played the game. One half, you'd get a nice quick pace, you'd be into your offense, and a lot of times you'd get out in transition and you'd be moving the ball well. On another, in the second half, a lot of times you'd be working the ball really slowly up the floor, and you would just be kind of 2 different teams in that way. And so to me, I would love to see Danny Ainge move up and get Scoot. Obviously that's a win-win. I mean, if you move up in the draft to get a guy like Scoot, and let's say Scoot, for whatever reason, not that I think he would, but let's say that he was a bust somehow. Well, no one's going to blame you for that. That's a reliable win-win pick. So for me, I would prioritize point guard and then work on power forward later in this draft. But absolutely, I think if you were to go and get Scoot, if you were to go and get Thompson, there are great options in this draft. But I think no matter what, if you're a Jazz fan, you can't get away from the idea that Colin Sexton hasn't quite worked out and reached the ceiling you would have liked for him to reach. Because if he had worked out the way you wanted him to, if he had stayed healthy, not picked up the injury, you wouldn't be in this position. But frankly, Colin Sexton, in my opinion, is more of a guy that's going to be coming off the bench behind whoever you pick up in this draft. I think he is a solid, I'm not talking about young guy coming off the bench now. I'm talking about bring him in the game, 20-minute-a-night contributor, tenacious on defense, really gives you quality minutes behind whoever that guy is you draft.
But I also think Colin Sexton can be your Jordan Clarkson replacement. I think he can be that guy who can flame on. He can come in and run an offense. He can score for you. Because the thing that excites me about Colin Sexton is his ability to attack the basket. This league is rapidly turning into a fast-paced league where free throws determine games.
Mm-hmm.
And I think when you look at the way that the Denver Nuggets control the pace of their game, you look at the way, frankly, if we look at the top of the conference, you always have teams, whether it's the Phoenix Suns. You had 3 operators on that team this year that knew how to get to the free throw line. You look at the Golden State Warriors, the LA Lakers. The LA Lakers were dominant at the free throw line. That's what you have to build. You have to build a team that can play at pace, shoot the 3, and get to the free throw line.
Mm-hmm.
Colin Sexton can be that player. And I that's why I am not a proponent of trading him. I also think he's coming off of a significant injury. You knew this was going to be a touch and go year, a spotty year for him. When he played, he showed you things. Now, it took some time to get him into the system, frankly, with Will Hardy.
Yeah.
But once Colin got going a little bit, you saw flashes of what he could be. That to me means, hey, let him be your 6th man almost, your scorer off the bench. And then if he earns that job, great, he earns that job. That should be your biggest problem, that Colin Sexton's playing too well and he needs to start. Hey, that's cool, man. We'd all love to have that problem.
Do you think, you said something there about Jordan Clarkson, and I know we get this all the time from Jazz fans. Do you think as a Jazz fan, it's time to start putting him in the past? Because I think a lot of Jazz fans are reticent to do that. A lot of Jazz fans are like, yeah, he is technically off of our roster right now, but they're going to re-sign him.
Yes.
I think a lot of Jazz fans want to live in that reality. And I'm not so sure that you should be living in that reality. In fact, I would tell you not to be living in that reality. I would be telling you that the draft is the number one priority. And in my opinion, the Jazz should behave as though Jordan Clarkson is not going to be on this team. And if
he's not going to be on this team.
And if he wanted to take a hometown discount, cool, whatever, maybe that works out. But I agree with that. I think that he wants to play for a championship. And to me, Jazz fans need to let Jordan Clarkson go emotionally and mentally because he's already gone.
Yeah. I think if you look at this draft, I think you have to be willing, if you're the Utah Jazz and you have an opportunity at the 2nd or the 4th, I think you have to be willing to trade your picks. I think you have to be willing to look at your Minnesota pick. I think you have to be willing to look at your Philadelphia pick. I think you have to be willing, to look at that Lakers pick, in 2028, 2027, the Lakers first round pick, right? Protected top 4. You have to be willing to look at picks down the road to put yourself in a position. And this is, hey, the conversation I had today was very much that. The Jazz are willing to be aggressive because they've identified, and it was said to me, Scoot Henderson and Amen Thompson are the 2 guys that they've identified that, hey, these are the guys that fit in our system. There's a lot of belief that Amen Thompson is much more mature than his age and his experience, and that his learning curve, because of his skill set that's already in place, makes him a unique guy who can play in this league at an early stage in his career.
Yeah.
Because I think most of us who have followed this team and followed this rebuild understand the Jazz are not looking for a 10-year rebuild. They're looking for a 2 to 3 year rebuild. They're looking to be a championship caliber club, not this year, not next year, but that year after that, when you're talking about 2026 as a year where this team believes that it should be competing for an NBA championship. You're going to see them build a roster this year that puts them solidly into the playoffs. I think next year you're going to need to leave some room for question marks. How much are we developing? Because I also think, what are you going to do to replace Fizdale? Because I think when you look at this roster, the fact that Walker Kessler is going to represent the United States at the Worlds, the fact that he became one of the best rim runners in this league in the second half of the year last year, and the fact that you can see him developing offensively right before your eyes in the middle of games. This is a guy now, his development becomes a priority, so you love that he's going to the Worlds, right? You have nothing to lose there. You have an absolute foundational piece in Lauri Markkanen. What you have to do now is figure out, hey, is Ochai Agbaji a starter? Is this a guy that we can plug in at a 2-3 and call it good? I don't know. We need to figure that out, right? Is Lauri Markkanen a 3 or a 4, right? I don't think you need to be locked in necessarily to positions, but is Ochai Agbaji one of your 5 best players? Or is he a guy that you're going to make a starter? Is Walker Kessler, is this group of guys, and specifically those 3, because I think Walker for sure, Lauri Markkanen, a bit of a question mark on, is he one of your best players the year that you're pushing to win a championship? I think that's a big question.
Yeah.
I can't believe that we get another year of massive growth out of Lauri Markkanen, because I don't even know what kind of player he would be at that point. But those questions have been answered by this club already. They're looking at this draft from what our sources close to the team are telling us. They're looking at this draft as an opportunity to take a step forward in time, to kind of bend that growth curve. They've identified Scoot Henderson and Amin Thompson as 2 guys they really like.
Facts.
And I think when you look at the potential of this team, to win, man, I'm telling you, I would give up the Laker pick. I would give up the Philadelphia pick. I want 2 first-round picks in this draft.
Yeah.
That's what I think this Jazz team needs, to pick 2 players in this first round. Everything else after that's gravy. 2 players in this first round really pushes you forward. And I love Scoot Henderson. You guys know we have talked about him ad nauseum on this show.
Yeah.
But, man, I'm telling you, Amin Thompson is a stud.
Oh, and those are 2 players in Scoot and Amin that, they are not, these long-term, give them 4 seasons to figure out if they can be a starter guys. I mean, I am a big proponent, no matter how good you are, outside of talents like LeBron James or the, Hall of Fame level guys right out of the draft. 99% of players, you got to give them a season first. Like, you just give them a season to go and do whatever they're going to do on your team. That's just the starting point. But I think that second year, and it kind of lines up with what you were saying, where, hey, 3 drafts from now, you'd hope in this process to be competing for a championship.
Yes.
So if you were to draft Scoot, let's say this year, this coming season is a whatever season. He's going to come out, he's going to ball out, probably going to contend for Rookie of the Year type stuff. With Victor, absolutely. And that would be great for the Jazz. That would bring a ton of notoriety, a ton of attention. Awesome. But expectation-wise, we need to remember that it's still his first year in the league. That second year is when I would expect him to flourish, and I would expect him to become the guy that you expected him to be when you drafted him. And I think the beautiful part about that is it lines right up with your rebuild process, with your timeline, with when you want to start contending. Like, this coming season, would not be surprised if you were, a 6th seed in the Western Conference. Wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah,
not at all.
Totally agree. Jet Wayman says point guard is definitely a top priority in my opinion. I think it is the priority.
Yeah.
Because I don't think in this league anymore, there are no coincidences. I mean, you look at what Jamal Murray meant to the Denver Nuggets. It's not a coincidence. You look at Steph Curry and what he means to Golden State. It's not a coincidence.
Absolutely.
You get somebody like D'Angelo Russell to settle down that offense. It's not a coincidence what the Lakers rise, right? You look at the things that determine win and loss in this league, And I think you have to have somebody. You look at Chris Paul for the Suns, what he used to be, what he's not anymore. Their success with Chris Paul was also their failure because of Chris Paul. The point guard is non-negotiable in this league.
Yeah.
And when you have a guy like Ammon Thompson, dude, man, I am just a huge fan. And I like Thompson. If I were the Jazz, I would be targeting him because I think when you see that one, the Rockets have the 4th pick. I don't know that they are invested in adding another young player to that team. I think when you brought in Ime Udoka and you said we want to win, I think you're changing that philosophy.
Absolutely.
And I think that if you can make a trade and maybe you get into the 4th spot. If you get into the 4th spot, I mean, the world's your oyster at that point. So I think you're talking about a franchise in Charlotte that's a lot less pliable than the Houston Rockets. Because I think and I might be one of the few, I think there's a lot of questions around LaMelo Ball as a true feature point guard. That does not mean that he can't be a floor general. He's got wonderful vision. He's an excellent passer. But that kid's a scorer. That kid is an absolute wrecking machine. And I think if you put a Scoot Henderson next to him, dude, that's going to be a 1-2 combination for a decade, depending on how healthy they are.
Absolutely. Yeah.
That's a 1-2 combination you can believe in.
Yep.
Now, no, go ahead.
Well, I was just going to say that's why I like Scoot. That's why I like this draft a lot. That's why I think you need to be aggressive because again, you can just see like the issue I had with Colin Sexton is I don't think he's that coachable. I think Colin Sexton's a tough guy to coach. I think he's a firecracker of a player, and you love that.
I would agree with that.
And you hate that. Like, it was an infamous thing on the bench when Will Hardy was chewing his ass out for a dumb play that he had made, right? Like, they had, like, and kudos to the Jazz in the building, right? To, at that time, AT&T Sportsnet, right? Like, had a camera
right?
on them on the bench. Like, great job. Caught that moment. And it's like, hey, man, like, you got to be more coachable than that. And that's why I say, like, I look at Colin Sexton and I say, hey, your time in Cleveland was cool. You got the pass because you were a young guy there, but that's over now. Not that you're old, but you're not a young guy. You're not a rook anymore, man. Like, it's time to start giving this team really quality minutes and understanding that, yes, firecracker mentality, be that guy, but within reason to stay healthy. That's the thing that Colin Sexton has to understand. And I think for the Jazz, he brings the most value off the bench because, again, it comes back to my original point about this team right now. Their inconsistency and pace of play is largely due to guys like Colin Sexton. It's largely due to Jordan Clarkson. Those guys playing all these minutes is why you're inconsistent. So if you get Scoot, if you get Thompson, and you teach them, hey, this is how we're going to run offense in Will Hardy's system, you should be much more consistent with how you go about it.
But it's also why I think... Again, I look at Brandon Miller. It's a knockdown shooter.
Yep.
That's a guy that think about Bojan Bogdanovic at his best on the wing as a knockdown shooter, right? Like, he is that guy, but better for the Jazz, right? So you have multiple options. I just think they're targeting point guard because it's been a hole in their arsenal, right? I mean, Mike Conley was a guy that was always hurt for this team in critical moments. And I think that when you had this recent high tide with, Don Rudy, Mike Conley, Bojan Bogdanovic, right? Like, the one thing that you really, in my opinion, you truly missed was the identification of who the dude was. There was never like the best player on the team. The go-to guy was Mike Conley against Denver. No. Bojan Bogdanovic against Dallas. No. Rudy Gobert against Terrence Mann and the Clippers. No. Right?
Never.
Like, it was not Don. It was not Mike. It was not Bojan. It was not Rudy. Like,
it was nobody.
So you tore it down. This is an opportunity to get a guy who could potentially be your dude. Right? Because right now, I think Lauri Markkanen's your best player on this team, and you haven't been able to identify the singular best player on this team. And a lot of people would tell you it's Donovan Mitchell, but that just never played itself out here. Never played itself, as much as I'm a Don guy, it never played itself out that he was the elite player that you always needed him to be, because he wasn't. And you have a guy now in Lauri Markkanen on a playoff team. If that Lauri Markkanen that we saw for the Jazz last year is on a playoff team, good night, dude. And if you've got an Ammon Thompson or a Scoot Henderson on the ball, allowing, these other guys that you're building, the Walker Kesslers, the Lauri Markkanen, whoever you wind up putting next to those two guys or between those two guys, your Ammon Thompson, let's say, now you got three dudes who have the ability to get off the ball, go and get into their best position to find their spot on the floor to impact the offense.
Yep.
And I think that's what, obviously, with a ragtag bunch of dudes last year, that's what you missed was this cohesiveness. Going forward, you're not going to wonder where the hell Rudy Gay is. You're not going to, you're not going to wonder what's going on, this guy or that guy, or you're just not going to have to worry about that. So I think this draft is incredibly important.
Well, and I think, again, the last point I would make is, like, if you're one of the long times on this show, hardcore Jazz fan, you guys remember when we were having the conversations about them trading Rudy specifically, and just how, painful and tumultuous of a time that was. And I think at that time I said, hey, 2 years from now, when you get all these picks and you have all this flexibility, you're going to be loving this moment. And now we're here at that time where you've got all this flexibility, you've got all these picks, and now it has to be, and I know it's corny, but it has to be in Danny we trust. And this is his time to shine. And I just think that this team can be, last year they fell short of 40 wins. This team can be mid-40s this year, no problem, if you get it right in the draft. And that's the one area where I can say, out of every upgrade that happened, Danny Ainge is a massive upgrade over Dennis Lindsey, and I just think you can't undersell that.
Yeah, and I think, just thinking about, there's so much talent in the top 10 picks in this draft. Cam Whitmore, dude. The problem with Cam is he's very young. Ammon's 20. And I think when you look at like, just looking at builds, like 6'7", 215 for Ammon Thompson.
Look at the size, bro. Like,
20 years old. Cam Whitmore is 6'6", 235. He's 18. I mean, you're looking at a guy in Ammon Thompson that's exciting. But good night with Cam Whitmore or Taylor Hendricks from UCF. Dude, 6'9", 215, and he's 19 years old.
Yeah.
Man, I'm an Ammon Thompson guy. Again, if you're a long time, I've been talking about him for months.
Mm-hmm.
Nate Davis, the Jazz Bull, try to keep Scoot or Cam Whitmore and then go after a power forward, or you can get Bradley Beal later in a trade. I think you would have, it's interesting, I had a conversation about Bradley Beal yesterday night.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't think that Bradley Beal is a guy that's going to be like, oh yeah, I want to go to another rebuilding team in Utah. Isn't Bradley Beal a little ahead of your arc here?
A little bit.
Right? And you're going to have to pay him a ton. He's got a full no trade. He's got a phenomenal agent in Mark Bartelstein.
Yeah.
I think it doesn't make a lot of sense for the Jazz. The Lakers, the Clippers, Golden State.
Contenders, bro.
Portland. Although, can you imagine Brandon Miller in Portland?
Yeah.
God, dog. Like, does his shooting translates, dude? Man.
Just needs development, dude.
His shooting.
2 seasons.
6'9", 210, 20 years old. Like, that kid's ready to play.
That's got wannabe Kevin Durant frame written all over it. Like, that's Kevin Durant's frame. 6'10", came in the league at, I want to say, 212.
Let's see. I think my biggest question about Brandon Miller, is he Buddy Hield? Well, right now he is, because that dude's a knockdown shooter, but I don't know right now that he's capable of finishing at the rim in this league.
Yeah.
Which worries me a little bit, right?
Yep.
So you have a little question mark there, but I don't know. I'm an Ammon Thompson guy. If I'm the Jazz, that's my dude. I think Scoot Henderson is going to be just unwieldy expensive. Like,
yeah,
dude, they're going to want the house and the cars for Scoot. And I don't know how much I'm willing to give up for him. Let's run through some of your comments here on the Monty Show, presented by our good friends at Bucked Up Energy, the official energy provider of the Monty Show. You guys, I'm telling you, if you have not shopped the Bucked Up sale today, buckedup.com, it is absolutely a treasure trove. Everything at buckedup.com today, 45% off right now. Use the promo code 45OFF I saved $211 today. And I got things like greens, collagen peptides. I got 10 boxes of buckshot, watermelon buckshot. Got 10 boxes of it. I saved $211. Stock up today at buckedup.com. Use the promo code 45OFF at buckedup.com. It is their best sale day of the year. Hook it up right now because stuff is going fast. I saw a lot of people commenting that they went to buckedup.com. So, hey, man, I'm telling you, the sale is fantastic. Hook it up, buckedup.com. Monty owes a ribeye says, hopefully it's a fun summer for the NBA. Dude, we need it. Because last summer felt very serious around the NBA, whether it was the Lakers or the Jazz burning it to the ground or...
Well, this summer's going to get real serious for Ja Morant because that's coming down too, and everyone's forgotten about it.
I think Ja Morant's a big storyline. I think the guys on ESPN this morning were talking about how a Friday news dump seems appropriate. You know what? I got to agree because you're not going to do it on the day the Nuggets have their championship parade.
No.
Right? You're not doing that. I think tomorrow, on a real quiet day, a week before the draft, Ja Morant's going to get a year-long suspension.
When is parade?
I mean, parade's today.
When is parade?
Nicola, parade's today.
I need to go home.
Well, after the parade today, you can go home.
No.
Well, okay. My point is, I'm telling you right now that I would guess Friday, because you're not going to suspend Ja Morant a significant amount of time. Whether it's 40 games or 82 games, you're not going to suspend him the week of the NBA draft, which is a week from today.
And it feels like waiting till after is a mistake.
You can't do it.
Because
Because you've already met with him. John knows what his punishment is, right? Notice he's radio silent. He knows what his punishment is. You got to announce it. I think tomorrow's the day that it gets announced.
Yeah.
I don't think there's any doubt about that. Cowboy Country says, if I were the Spurs, I would not take Victor Wembanyama. He is way too skinny. He needs to put on 20, 30 pounds or he will be pushed around like a rag doll. He's 7'5" and only weighs 230. It's terrifying because imagine being the San Antonio Spurs because I believe we all recognize they've had, well, what's good about him? What's bad about him? What do we like?
Yes.
What do we hate? Like you're sitting around doing that, right? You're damned if you do and you're damned if you don't because you can't let him play in Summer League.
Draft Express lists Buddy at 227.
And I think that's generous.
Yeah.
Take the rocks out of his pocket, dude. But you know what, Cowboy Country? I think you're right. For sure. Brady Cook, do we still try and go after a big name in free agency? I think you're going to have to trade. I think it's going to be difficult to... And I don't know that this is necessarily a great free agent class specific to the Jazz.
Yeah.
You're not going after James Harden, right?
I think that you have to get through the draft first. I think that, free agency and the buyout market and like these different things that happen after the draft, let those live after the draft. I think for this squad right now, the Jazz have had a tendency, not with this group, but the Dennis Lindsey era, to mess up the draft on a regular basis. And I think that chapter needs to be left behind now. But the only way to leave that behind is by executing in this draft. So to me, obviously you've got options. And I this is just conjecture, my opinion, but I have to think if you're Danny Ainge, Justin Zanuck, and Ryan Smith, you're sitting here saying, okay, we've got a plan A, which is to move up inside the top 5 and get the guy that we like, whoever that might be, whether that's Scoot or Ammon, depending on where you land. If that doesn't work out, or for whatever reason, if you couldn't move up, which I would be surprised, then we can start focusing on, hey, we're going to make some trades or we're going to, do this or do that because we weren't able to get, where we wanted to be in the draft. So I just think free agency is too far out. I think that, you tongue-in-cheek about James Harden, but the league needs to see where James Harden's going to go. I mean, is this somebody who's going back to Houston?
Well,
there's this rumor being run out there about the Lakers, but grain of salt because it's the Lakers. It just feels kind of fabricated. Like, there's a lot there in the James Harden situation. And by the way, what in the hell are the Phoenix Suns going to do? Because I think that's the team that rocks the boat, if you will, the league, based on where they trade these guys.
Yeah, I think it's really interesting. Because the league has gotten so much younger now.
Yeah.
The league in this draft is not going to change that. I mean, hell, we just ran through the first 10 picks and they're all 19, 20-year-olds.
Yeah.
This draft is not going to change that. And I think because of that,
yeah.
I was saying, man, college basketball's in a tough spot. Kanerin says, putting all of my trust in Danny to do the right thing, as I think
and I think that's reliable. I think it's reasonable. I think the guy's track record proves that.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's just one of those situations where you don't know, and then you also don't know what the New Orleans Pelicans are going to do with Zion Williamson, because this is becoming a situation where, dude, they're meeting today in New Orleans at the Saints facilities with Zion Williamson. The Pelicans and Zion Williamson are meeting today, or met today, to try and figure out how the hell they can move forward, because this off-field drama or off-court drama with Zion and these porn stars and strippers, and one's pregnant and one's, tweeting heinous things about their sex life, and another, I think not only has the missed time, injuries, lack of fitness, lack of dedication, questions about professionalism. Well, if that wasn't bad enough, now you're humiliating an organization that generally doesn't put up with that. And the ownership there is by some accounts drawn weary. This adult performer that was revealing detailed sexual encounters that she had with Zion. Tweets about him moving her to New Orleans, essentially saying, hey, if I move you here, will you be my girlfriend? Like, just all of this craziness. I think they're trying to figure out what to do. And I'm just going to say what I've said for the last 3 off seasons. Trade him.
Mm-hmm.
Trade him. He needs it. You need it. Zion Williamson is right now today one of the biggest busts in the history of the NBA draft.
Agreed. Completely agree, dude.
And New Orleans ain't fixing that.
Yeah, and what's really interesting is there are some reports coming out about this meeting that he was having with David Griffin, and apparently the owner of the Pelicans, Gail Benson, showed up to the meeting, and all reports like it was fine. So I don't know. It seems like things are okay. We're not getting Woj bombs or Shams saying things like, hey, the meeting was rocky and, looking at potential trade targets.
David's never been a guy that releases a bunch of information about the meetings that he has. And the Benson family, there would be no positive in them saying, hey, we're trading this guy.
Yeah.
This is an out of left field deal, which it won't be. But when he gets traded, my guess is you will not see it coming.
Yeah.
Because that's how they're going to get their value for it. And frankly, if I'm the New Orleans Pelicans, I'm just trying to get out from under Zion Williamson. This has been nothing short of an abject failure in New Orleans for him. And he needs to go somewhere. He needs to go somewhere where you're a veteran team. Mm-hmm. He's somebody that needs to go to Golden State. He's somebody that needs to be around one of the best veteran players in this league. And I don't know where that is and what fit it is. But if I'm New Orleans, I'm moving Zion Williamson. I'm done.
Let's go somewhere.
I'm done with all this.
Yeah, same.
You have tried and tried with this cat, and nothing has gotten him to lose weight consistently. Nothing has gotten him to be healthy consistently. And now he betrays you with off-court drama, with adult performers and sex acts and babies, and I'm done with it. I'm done with it.
And by the way, this coming season's year 1 of the extension.
And which is the thing that I don't understand. Why did you sign him to that extension?
Because I think you thought he would fix it. That's the only explanation.
You should have traded him before you signed him to the extent.
You should have.
I love this thing in the NBA where it's like, well, he's only in his 19th year. How do we know what he's going to be as a professional?
Get your lazy ass in the gym.
Dudes don't, when you are, with all due respect, kid, when you're fat and you're unprofessional, you're likely not changing.
Fat?
I know. Trust me. When you're overweight and you're unprofessional, I joke, which Zion Williamson is, and you're paid tens of millions of dollars from Nike, from the Pels, from like all these endorsements, and you won't stop eating, you won't stop having sex, and you won't work out, and you're out of shape, and you are constantly hurt.
Because you're out of shape.
What are you hanging on to? You're not fixing him, right? And I'm a big believer that we've got to stop trying to fix people. Zion's got to fix Zion or he ain't going to get fixed. Trade him. Let him be somebody else's project. We get too emotional and we want to hang on to dudes, and I'm just telling you now, you're littered. You're littered across the league with these dudes.
Well, and I think the tough part is when we talk about lack of professionalism, for professional athletes, being in shape is just an assumption. It's not like, oh, wow, hey, here's a sticker for being it. Like, you're a professional athlete, dude. Like, it is assumed that you will be in shape. Now, again, dudes getting into game shape versus, off-season shape. Okay, everyone goes through that, right? Like, and the best players show up in game shape. Okay, if that was the issue, we're good. We can fix that. But you're talking about somebody who just won't conform, will not get it done. And this is where the guaranteed contract in the league, I have a problem with.
It's a mistake.
I just don't think I
think you should have to earn your guaranteed contract. I think your rookie deal should not be guaranteed. And it's these fifth-year options and these restricted versus unrestricted. How many restricted free agents have gone out on visits? When's the last time DeAndre Ayton was your best player on the Suns? But what happened? He was a restricted free agent, so he went to Indianapolis, and they're like, hey, dude, I'm just going to toss you the keys to our Brinks truck. Let's see what the Suns say. Well, they matched. And how did that work out for the Suns? Terribly is how it worked out. It was a failure.
Yeah.
It was an absolute failure, right? It did. By the way, did you guys hear what Detroit did for Monty Williams? So Monty Williams did not take the Piston job because his wife has breast cancer.
Mm-hmm.
So they say to him, hey, why don't we put your wife on our health insurance and we'll take care of her coverage. Pre-existing condition with cancer. You think that's tough to get covered? And the Pistons covered it. Unbelievable, dude. Unbelievable. And I don't know if Monty Williams is a championship coach. The Suns had balls firing him. And I think the Pistons got a great hire for a young roster that needs development. Monty Williams is a great coach.
Cade Cunningham under Monty Williams.
Dude.
Gas.
Dude. And I wonder, by the way, I also wonder, what do the Detroit Pistons do in this draft? Because when you look at, what the Spurs and Charlotte are probably doing. I think you have a pretty good idea what's going to happen. I think trades will happen at 3 or 4. The Detroit Pistons are going to get a hell of a player at 5.
Look at some of these guys they got available to them. Obviously Cam Whitmore is the favorite to go to them. But
Taylor Hendricks,
names, man.
Anthony Black, who I think potentially could be.
Yeah.
I love Anthony Black.
Yes.
Cody Buffkin. Derek Whitehead, who I'm telling you, I know nobody wants to talk about it. That kid is a top 5 player in this draft.
Got the goods.
Telling the Pistons are going to have their pick of the litter, man. And I think they're going to improve wildly. I think they're going to improve. Bryce Martin says, I hope to God we, the Houston Rockets, don't get James Harden back. Well, but again, don't you need James Harden back in all the craziness? You have got to change the culture in Houston.
But I don't know that James does that.
I think he does. James Harden is a lot of things. He's intelligent and he's professional and he wants to win now because he knows he needs a championship. And I think after what you saw in Philadelphia, James Harden was a different James Harden in Philadelphia. Dedicated. We saw the scorer come back. We saw the shooter come back. Had a couple of tough games in the playoffs. I don't think anybody doubts that.
Mm-hmm.
But didn't we see the best version of James Harden we've seen in recent years? Yeah, certainly since he left Houston.
Yeah. Yes.
Right?
Yes.
So I think the Houston Rockets can do anything they want. The Houston Rockets I think, are in a position where they can pivot and do a complete rebuild, free agency trades. We're veterans. We're middle of the Western Conference. Or they can keep their best young talent, trade some of their young talent, and become a 7, 8, 9 team. They really can do anything they want. You have, regardless of what you think about the man as a human being and a moral compass and stuff, you have a really good head coach who I think showed you something in Boston.
They were better with him than they were with
showed some other people something in Boston too. But that's not my point. My point is you're in a really good place there.
Yeah.
And now the question becomes, what do you do?
Yeah.
But Bryce, I would not be hanging your head. I wouldn't. Bryce also says, is Zion on the verge of getting conduct detrimental to the league? He's not.
Yeah. I'm going to go ahead and say, hey, Bryce, I think the Ja Morant issue is a little closer to conduct detrimental to the league than
Totally
Zion
agree.
being a fat ass and spending too much time in the strip club.
Totally agree.
By the way, the strip club is common policy in the league that nobody talks about.
Oh, absolutely. Strip
Nightly.
club is culture in this league. He is. Let's see. K. Nuren says, I could see Zion to the Lakers.
Yeah.
That's a step back for them, I think. Jeremy Calzone says, wherever he goes, to be a fit, they're going to need an extra seat for a baby on board.
Here's the game plan.
Buddy just rolled out, hey, they need to get a baby on board
Baby
sticker for the
on
team
board.
charter.
Baby on board. Come on now. Jimmy Otson, Boise State is the Gonzaga of football.
I'm sorry, they're the what?
Gonzaga of football. Fuck.
Gonzaga.
Gonzaga. I like Gonzaga.
Gonzaga.
I earned that one. Calzone says trade him to Denver and he can get an endorsement deal for chicken nuggets.
Bro, chill, dude.
Don't you mean boneless wings?
Damn.
Salty Drunk. Pels must have some idea of how he ticks pre-draft. Have to.
I mean, you understood when you drafted him that he was a fat ass, right? You understood that.
I would hope so.
I mean, it's pretty clear when you bust open a Kyrie at Duke. I think you understand that.
Isn't this what we're talking about with VW? You knew Zion couldn't play the game he played in high school and college in the NBA. And again, it's all on the channel. It's all on the channel. Everything we ever say stays on the channel for the rest of its existence. What did I tell you when they wanted to draft Zion Williamson?
Yep.
The guy can't shoot, and he plays above the rim, and he's fat. And those are all things for lower body injuries, right?
Back issues, ACL problems.
Dude, you can't outrun Father Time and Mother Nature at the same time. So when you're LeBron James and your lower back hurts, you go to the best body guy in the business and you pay him millions of dollars and you become one of the greatest players of all time.
And what did Bron do? He cut weight.
You cannot be Zion Williamson and thrive in the NBA. But this is what we said about him at the draft. What are we saying about Vic?
Well, and I think the thing with Vic is that it's easier to lie to yourself about it, right? Because you can say things like, "Oh, well, he's in a professional league now."
Oh no, it's because he's not fat. This is what we do in this country. We fat shame people.
Fat.
Victor Wembanyama is not an NBA body. Does he have great length? Sure he does. He's got probably 4 legs. I don't give a shit. He is not strong enough. He is not physical enough. And he doesn't want to play below the free throw line. Well, guess what? That means you're not going to play and you're going to have a short career because you're going to get hurt and you're going to eventually have to do the things you don't want to do because you won't do the things you need to do now. Plain and simple. That is what it is. Bryce Martin says fat cat syndrome for Zion.
Facts.
Salty Drunk says class act by Detroit. Absolutely.
Agreed.
Absolutely. Bryce also says James elevates play but doesn't change the culture. Plus, we don't have a lot of talent around him unlike those 2018-19 teams, but I think you're going to change that.
Yeah, that's the conundrum if you're Houston, and I'm with you on this, Bryce. I agree that James played well in Philly. I don't have a doubt about that. But I think it's kind of asking a lot for James Harden to come in and be anything other than a scorer because he's playing with young guys. Now, again, if you change that, if you say, okay, we're gonna trade some of our best talent and bring in, veterans or guys, maybe not, I'm not saying old guys, but guys who are, mid to upper 20s in their prime, like you're going to do a deal or two like that to help James, I can kind of see it, but I just don't love the idea of him going back there with the expectation that you would be a playoff team. I don't love that.
No, I'm not. I ain't falling down a James Harden hole, man.
Big James Harden guy.
I know.
Speaking
as
of
a
first
game.
team fat ass to get traded.
As a game. I like his game.
Yeah.
Calzone says, oh, my knee is killing me. Zion, yes. Jet Wayman says, something tells me the Spurs won't draft Wemby. Really?
You think it's a ploy?
I
mean, you could get a gold mine for
that'd
that first pick, dude.
shocking.
Can you imagine what they would get for that pick because of Wemby?
Oh, my God. They're drafting him, dude. They have to. Jet says Victor doesn't want to play center. Try telling that to Pop, dude.
By the way, U.S. Open's getting a little tight. Just saying.
It is. How about, you know what I love about the U.S. Open? Rory McIlroy's playing golf. -5 through 10. -5 through 10. And I love it. And he's driving the hell out of the ball. He just drove the 11th. I'm telling you, Rory McIlroy, when he is on, is really good. Ricky Fowler and Xander Schauffele both shot U.S. Open record 62 -8s today. -8 62s today. Ties for the lowest ever in a major championship. They sit on top. Harman's -6. McIlroy's -5 with Clark. English -4 through 13. Scheffler is -3 on his round. He shot a 67 today. Mickelson, Dustin Johnson, and Bryson DeChambeau are all -3.
A lot of good golfers under par.
Hanging around.
Hideki
Matsuyama's even. Right? Like, you have a lot of talent on this leaderboard.
I think this course gets significantly harder tomorrow.
Yes, it does. Because the pin placements were not nearly as difficult as they could be.
Yeah.
I think this has potential. Man, Hideki Matsuyama is just playing terrible golf.
Yeah.
Drives it in the bunker on 11.
Because it's garbage.
Man. And that's about 6 to 8 inches short of where McIlroy landed. McIlroy's in great spot. Matsuyama's in the bunker.
That's golf.
In a really terrible spot. That is exactly golf. That's exactly right.
So there you go.
I love it. Greg Hawkins, Ricky Fowler is such a likable golfer. Yeah, he is.
Hell of a story.
Yes, he is.
Hell of a story.
Yes, he is. And I hope he wins. It would be an amazing story. Colorado Aggies says the Nuggets are NBA champions. Are you sure? No, stop. Come on, man.
Well,
They're not going to win the championship.
The Nuggets and all 5 of their fans at the parade today.
Venice parade. Venice parade.
Why are you hating on Nuggets fans?
Well, because there are no Nuggets fans because they weren't at the parade.
Is that right?
Yeah. The street, I'm not kidding. It's all over Twitter. The streets were empty during their parade.
No.
Like you know how during the parade they have the starting point and they've got like a ton of people there, right? Okay, great. They all showed up there. But you know how an NBA parade's like for the Raptors. Remember the Raptors parade?
Yes.
Or even the Golden State parade?
Yes.
Like the streets were lined and it was a party the whole way and like that didn't really happen for Denver, man.
I don't know. The Cantavius Caldwell Pope beer chugging contest with a fan.
I don't know. You look at some of the overhead shots. It was a little light, bro.
It was a little light. Is that true?
In my opinion, it was a little light.
I don't know. Dude, there's a lot of fans there. Come on now. No, Denver's good, dude. I like Denver a lot. We were talking about this before the show, too. That the Honeys in Denver. No, I'm kidding. We never talked about the Honeys in Denver. We all know they're in Aspen. But the point is, Denver's is a really good town. Really good town. All right, a couple of more. OG Gary says, okay, y'all, see you later. See you later, Gary. Always appreciate you, buddy. Truck Stop Gumby says golf. Exactly. Rowdy Every Point says Justin Thomas game has gone in the toilet. Dude, you ain't even kidding about that. Brady Cook says Justin Thomas is not playing well. He's not. He's not, which is fairly amazing.
Yeah.
How far he has fallen. Because since he won the PGA, he just has not been able to regain his form. And it's been very difficult. But you look at guys like Wyndham Clark and Harris English being -5 and -4. This tomorrow, the Friday at the Open is going to be ridiculous. My guy Max Homa -2 shot a 2 under 68 today. Gotta love that. Love that. Sam Bennett, the amateur, -3.
Yeah, I love that about golf, dude.
It's not amateur, it's amateur. Amateur. 3 under today.
Yeah.
Which is unbelievable.
Yeah, and reports coming out of the parade now say that there were a ton of people there, so maybe that was just some hating.
Why don't you shut up?
Maybe that was some hating, dude.
You shut up. Thomas is a streaky player. Yes, he is.
But he's all of us, right? Like, Justin Thomas is us. Like, Justin Thomas is the guy who, like, curses on the tee box. Like, he's so relatable. That's why I think everyone loves him.
He is relatable. He absolutely is relatable. This hour of the show presented by our good friends at TryDayTrading.com. Go get your $10 30-day membership. It's a $10 charitable donation. And you guys, I'm telling you, I'm just warning you, if you get into stocks and you get into trading, the money's ridiculous and it is addicting. It is an addiction.
Correctamundo.
And I love every second of it. It is the only thing that I just am like, dude, how's my GE? How's my Amazon stock? I'm all about it. And TryDayTrading.com teaches you how to make money. They teach you how to leverage their algorithms, their systems, their process. Do you know that there are people today, because of Tri-Day Trading, who made $1,000 today?
Mm-hmm.
They made $1,000 today. Did you make $1,000 at your job today? Did you make $500 at your job today? And the best part about it is you want to do it part-time. You want to be a day trader part-time. They'll teach you how to set your processes, automate your trades, so that throughout the day while you're working your full-time gig, you're making money.
Yep.
It's making money for you, right? And if you want to do it full-time and you want to live that lifestyle and you want to work for yourself and you want to truly be that entrepreneur you've always dreamed about being, TryDayTrading.com. They're going to teach you how to do that. And the best part is, when you go through their 30-day trial membership for $10, they give you it all. You don't get like some small version. You get full coaching, full teaching, everything that everybody else gets. You get it for $10. And if at the end of that 30 days, it's not for you, walk away from it. You get a tax write-off for the $10. Totally cool. I'm telling you, nobody walks away from it because it's a tremendous program. TryDayTrading.com/Monty. Make sure you tell them you heard about it on the Monty Show. And then let's jam, dude, because it's time for you to start making money. Man, things are expensive. One of the things we talked about recently was the cost of gas, food, your house. Think about how much it is to buy a house right now.
Expensive as hell.
How out of reach is a house? But let's say you made $300,000 in the next 12 months as a day trader because you went to TryDayTrading.com. How much would that change your life?
Yeah.
How much would it impact you if you went to TryDayTrading.com and you made $150,000 as a part-time trader? Think about that. If you just traded and you made $200 a day, 5 days a week, it's $1,000. Made $4,000 a month.
Yeah.
You added $48,000 to your income every year. Would that be all right? Okay, well, what if we just double that?
Yeah.
Because you're going to make more money as you become a more proficient trader and you continue. Because, by the way, when you're done with their program, they don't just leave you hanging out to dry. You get continuing education. You get continuing support and coaching. So your $200 becomes $300 and $400. Like, it is something that you can absolutely hone your skills at. And that's why most people who go through the Tri-Day system, it is not uncommon for you to be a full-time trader because you realize how lucrative it is. And when you're ready to start trading, they're going to put money into your trading account and you're going to trade that money. And when you make money with Tri-Day Trading's money, they give you 80% of the profit. What do you have to lose, man? TryDayTrading.com/Monty. Sign up for your $10 30-day membership. Tell them you heard about it on the Monty Show. Let's start making that real bread, yo.
Do it.
Justin Thomas is us, just 20 strokes better. Rowdy every point says 40 for me, Greg. I have a golf lesson tomorrow morning.
Well, okay, 2 minutes. 2 minutes. We got to go. We got to get out of here. But why do you hate golf lessons?
I'll be honest with you. I really do hate golf lessons. I cannot stand golf lessons. There's only one golf professional I trust, and it's Darren Ingram.
Why is that?
My guy, Darren, because everything he tells me is just common sense.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I really... This is why I golf at Canyons. Not because, and I know it says they are the official course of the Monty Show. Blah, blah,
and it
blah.
is a damn good course.
Do you know why I golf with Darren at Canyons? Because I was telling him, hey, dude, one of my major problems right now, here's where I'm at in golf.
Yeah.
Right? Give me a driver, I can bang 265 to 320. And I can be pretty accurate with it. I have kind of I don't ever hook. Generally, my biggest problem is I hit a high, sometimes when I don't hit it right, I hit a high spinner that fades a little right.
Yeah.
But when I bang it, it's 300 yards and it's usually down the pipe, right?
Yep.
But I get in trouble on par threes occasionally. I go through these stretches where I cannot hit it straight. I hit a line drive directly left. And I fucking hit it, man. Like it shot out of a cannon, dude.
Yeah.
But the issue is the last golf lesson I took screwed me up so badly.
Because it's garbage.
And this dude I take lessons from, not Darren Ingram, this guy I take lessons from, it's a really good teacher. But what I need a lesson and a follow-up. I need a lesson and then a follow-up and a lesson and a lesson. And I think
that's what you have to tell dude, because I agree. Like, okay, like if you think about how you learn something, okay, the first time you're absorbing the information, right? And especially with something like golf or anything that you have to sort of feel to be good at it.
Yes.
You got to be taught it first. Then you got to rep it out and do it wrong and kind of feel it. And then you need your coach to kind of say, hey, this is what you need to do. And then it's like there's this light bulb moment where now you can do it repeatedly every single time. And the problem is you're never getting to the light bulb moment. You're getting that lesson.
That's
you
right.
swing a bunch and you go out on the course and you're all pissed off about it. And that's the difference.
But what happens when I go to the driving range?
You usually have breakthroughs.
I study my film a lot. If you follow me on Instagram or TikTok, you know that I post a lot of golf footage.
Yeah.
And I really work on it. So tonight I'm going to go bang probably 100 golf balls. And I am going to exclusively work on irons, and specifically irons off the tee, because and I don't know, I'm not the guy that's like, oh yeah, I know everything. I know what I'm doing. I'm not. Everything I do well in golf, I'm self-taught. Everything. And whether it's the driver, whether it's my foot position, whether it's how I'm moving my hips, and I have two issues that I have not been able to fix: hip rotation and this thing off the tee with the irons. And tonight I am going to fix the thing off the tee with the irons. And tomorrow morning I'm going to take a lesson. And I'm going to tell him, hey, I need another lesson. Like tomorrow's Friday, I need a lesson like Tuesday. Because generally what I like to do is play Friday, Saturday, Sunday, nothing on Monday, driving range, chip putt on Tuesday, driving range on Wednesday, nothing on Thursday, play Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
Yeah.
That's my golf week. That's what I like. It's tough for me. I'm really busy. I don't have a lot of time. I don't like golfing without my wife because I think it's very time consuming. Like, so her schedule has to line up with my schedule. Like, it's just difficult. But when I go to the driving range and I spend an hour and a half hitting 100 balls, I can generally fix it.
Yeah.
And so it drives me crazy to take lessons. I hate taking lessons, and everybody tells me, oh, dude, it'll change your game. I want to, but and Greg, truer words have never been spoken. Truer words have never been spoken. I'm a 12 handicap right now. I started it in 18, but I have just progressively gotten less accurate with my irons off the driver.
Mm-hmm.
In the fairways, like getting figured at PXG yesterday, I just had the realization that I don't need more clubs. I have the length I need. I can hit my irons. The only club I cannot hit right now is a hybrid. I literally stopped carrying my hybrid because I could not hit it. I took it out of my bag. And you know what? My guy at PXG gave me some tips on it. I'm going to tweak it. I'm going to change the position of the head. Great. I'll try and hit it again. My issue now is I need to play and I need to improve, because I cannot stand the fact that I can't hit an iron off the tee without hitting it left. And it just pisses me off. And I know that it's my lead hand. I know that it is my lead hand closing the club face down. And I need to fix that.
Yeah.
I need to fix that because I've got the back arm. I'm good off the tee. Like, I hit the ball extremely hard. Like, I need to fix my irons off the tee. That is my goal this week, is to really work on my irons off the tee and get a little bit better with my 3-wood off the deck.
Yeah.
That's what my goal is. And I want to improve at golf. I want to improve at golf.
Yeah.
Period.
Yeah.
Riley O'Brien says, hey, Monty, what's up, Riley? Good to see you. Greg Hawkins, lessons are interesting because they teach you how to swing with the least amount of variation possible to be consistent, but sometimes consistency is the swing you feel. Oh, dude, golf is all feel.
Yeah.
Golf is all feel. This idea of pushing that left hip back and bending, and that's how I learn. I have to be able to feel like at the top of my backswing. It was like, you take a full swing, it's screwing you up. Dude, I can't hit a ball straight if I take a 3/4 swing. I've got one speed, especially with a driver. I've got one speed.
Yeah.
That's it. Full swing. That's it. And I've really worked on that. I've probably hit 10,000 driver shots now. And I feel pretty good about my driver. Nobody airways, I would be the greatest golfer in the history of man. But nobody with a driver hits. Like, we're watching the Open today, and we're watching guys with driver hit like 60% of their fairways.
Yeah. And that's at the professional level.
Yeah. So my goal is on every hole to be in position to have a shot in for birdie. If I can be, and I'll be honest with you, my biggest struggle is my second shot.
Yeah.
Because I put myself with irons off the tee in such terrible positions that second shot has become more and more difficult over the last 2-3 weeks.
Yeah.
And I got to fix it because I cannot continually fight that second shot. And again, I'm not trying to hate on the guy. The golf pro I take lessons from is actually very good. He speaks my language.
Right.
But the only thing I would say is it can't be a thing where the guy is like trying to cookie cutter me into things. What I want is this, and I'm going to talk to him about this tonight. Like, I want you to look at my swing and tweak it. Tell me what I need. What are the, because there are things that you can't do. There are 6-8 things that you just say absolutely can't do. Like, there are 2 things I think I do that I can't do. Sometimes I get ahead of myself. My hands get ahead of my body, which is absolutely terrible. But I can feel that happening. And I tend to get a little narrow on my backswing sometimes.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I'm working on that. But this irons off the tee thing has got to get fixed today.
Yeah.
So, Jeremy Calzone, will changing the position of the head and your lead hand really satisfy you? Oh, dude, you have no idea.
What now? Let me tell you what now.
You have no idea.
All right.
Ask your mom.
That was a mom joke.
That was a mom joke.
Dude,
and Donut says, I've tried helping, and you've helped wonderfully. Greg Hawkins, you need to go from a Y shape to an L shape with your arms. I hate that advice, dude. The 7 position. Shut up!
Yeah.
That's the other one.
How about the 6 position?
You got to get in the 7 position. What about 69, sir? Love you guys.
Jack Wagon.
Until tomorrow, say goodbye, Jake.
Goodbye, Jake.